Hello, people. Oh my goodness, we are live. It is just me for right this moment, as I just like, hey, as the you know what? Fine, we're just gonna have everyone here. Let's just get
Oh,
everyone in
we're
here,
bringing
cause
us in early.
yeah, might as well, cause you guys are heckling and it's fun. Uh, well, welcome back to another episode of Naturally One, where these
We
nerds.
hit a lot of natural ones.
Yes, you hit a lot of natural ones, and
It's a
you
skill. It's a skill.
Tell me
have
tell us what we're doing for that.
successfully make me come up with all sorts of random crap on the fly. It's also
Some good,
the
some bad, some weird.
magically the third session in the month of March, and also the first time we've actually had a back-to-back session. Now,
Back to
No
back.
way.
Back to
Man.
back.
so it's like, um,
We should get
yeah.
a cake. Celebrate.
Honestly, we should. It should have been much more celebratory if I hadn't realized it all of 5 minutes into talking with Jim when I first popped up the Zoom meeting.
It was a
Yeah.
surprise to me.
What if I like bought a cake and then shipped everybody a slice? Can we all eat it on Zoom at the same time?
Well, you'd be spending more on shipping than cake.
Okay, so everybody will go to the same store. We'll all buy the same cake.
Just Venmo me like $5. I'll pick up a cake from Walmart or like a pack of donuts.
I am always down for things.
Some kind of sweet bread.
You know, we could just go and get like a box of brownies, like little Debbie's, and say, "Oh, here we are."
Some cosmic brownies.
Caffeine
Sorry,
brownies?
DM. We were.
Oh my
Doing
gosh, the
great,
caffeine
right?
brownies.
Caffeine
My-
brownies!
oh, that's
Okay, and my devil brownies. I'll have to send those to you too.
Let's have a discussion about Oreo cakesters.
Ooh. Let's.
Okay, but hear me out.
We're
Chocolate
listening.
fudge brownies with a real maple syrup ripple. Devil brownies.
Those are tasty. Sounds tasty.
I love maple
And
syrup and stuff.
Westboro Baptist Church approved? I don't know. Hated them. That's what matters.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that course of action. Anyway.
Westboro mad. I'm down with it.
That is
I just
fair.
cut myself with an almond butter jar. I didn't know that was possible.
You did what with an almond butter bar?
I cut my finger.
How?
Challenge.
Sharp
Almond
nuts.
butter jar.
Yep. Sharp nuts.
Like the top of it?
Like I ran my finger along the inside when I was trying to scoop out some almond butter with this apple, and it like serrated my finger.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah, that's painful.
On that
painful
note,
to fuck
DM, now
people
that we
up.
have an HP loss confirmed in real life,
Oh, great.
She
Speaking
rolled
of
a
injury.
natural one for.
First we
apple
have
swipe.
characters who are nearing death. Now we have players who are nearing death. What is this?
My life.
Art imitates life.
Wait, you classify what we do as art? I'm so...
It's a creative medium.
That is
Art.
true. That is true. We are...
It's
We
not
are-
just that; it's a collaborative creative medium.
That is true. This is collective storytelling.
So this
That's
is
my
an art
favorite part about
show.
this.
This is
It's
an
an
art.
art
This is an
show.
art exhibit.
It's an interactive art show.
Oh.
Interactive art exhibit.
An exhibit. So are you saying we're all on display? This is all...
I don't know,
You're
putting
the
our
guy.
faces
You're the
out
ones
there.
with your faces out there.
I mean, it's almost like we're on camera, being preserved in some recorded media or something. Doing
Yes.
something for people's entertainment, including our own.
Recorded into the annals of time and space and forever immortalized by the space-time continuum, technically, let alone the internet.
Now, archaeologists are going to look back on this and be like, "What the heck was this?"
We need a Rod Serling intro submitted to your approval, if you will.
I have to go on Fiverr and see if,
Yeah.
someone can mimic their voice and actually do something like that. Or maybe I'll just listen to his voice and see if I can pull it off.
The hard part's going to actually be the copy because he had a
Yeah.
distinctive way of blending words.
That is true. That is very true. The cadence of some of those things is sometimes
Cursive
harder
of
than
the
other.
mouth.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the original part of this, cake, and celebrating the fact that, we just managed to pull something off in the month of March that hopefully we can continue to pull off and maybe actually play again next week. As you can see, yet again, Chlor is not able to join us. Dave, who plays Chlor, his job has decided that at the last minute last week and following through until the next unknown number of weeks, has changed the schedule of his stuff and things, and so we have to deal with all of that. So I'll be playing Chlor, kind of RP-ish, and then if we go into combat, probably just pawn that off on you, Stuart, because why not? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's that. Haven't updated the schedule on Discord. I need to do that. I meant to do that this weekend. I didn't. I'm sorry. It'll be updated.
What
and
are
we'll have...
schedules?
Well, I mean, it's kind of important when it's like, oh, hey, like, I already know for a fact I am not available the week of the 18th, so we're not going to be able to have D&D on April 19th. So, like...
You mean your schedule?
I mean, that's
Right.
a component of the schedule,
No.
is my schedule.
Yeah.
It's not just
so we're
about
not
me.
using my schedule? We're not cool enough?
No. I literally just said it's not all about me. Guys, it's not all about me. I try to make this more about you. Come on now. Look, there's more of you than there is of me. How can it possibly be about me? Anyway, as the dead silence just makes it like, oh, well, okay,
Well,
then I
that's-
guess
that's
they all
true.
feel it is about me,
Oh,
so...
I'm sorry, you're right. This is not all about you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a labor of love. We do it because we love you players.
I
So...
already know I'm the favorite child, so it doesn't matter.
Whoa, okay, let's rein that in for a second.
So, for those of
Favorite.
you who are watching and would like to see the schedule, it is posted on the channel Discord. I put that in the chat. And then if you want to see the previous episodes of Naturally One, they are both in the VOD section of Twitch for, I guess, like the last 30 days worth. The rest of them are on YouTube, which follow that link there, and you'll just see
And in a
the
coming
rest of
soon
them.
podcast.
And yes.
You know, time is relative. So, like, coming soon.
Yeah, so when this bumpkin, I guess down, oh gosh, directionally. When this bumpkin down here decides to get his crap in order, we will have this turn into a podcast for your listening pleasure, without having to see all of our
Or
mugs.
torture. I mean, pleasure.
I mean, it's all relative.
Some people torture is pleasure.
What?
Exactly. Hey, we don't judge here, except when we do.
I mean, Penn is the one who's not in handcuffs at this moment.
How did that happen?
Penn is totally in handcuffs.
They're rope cuffs.
No,
They don't
Penn
count.
isn't rope.
Oh. No,
because you're weak
cuffs
wrists.
also.
Yeah.
Penn and Bob are both in robes. Theo, Chlor, and Ren are manacled.
And I'm
Chlor
gagged.
in
They're not. We took your gag
regular
off.
is one side, basically.
And I kind of trimmed it a little
Are you
bit.
saying you liked the gag?
I did
Yes.
not like it.
Keep
Oh, okay.
saying, okay?
No, you know
Wait,
who's
what-
pissed
what
about
did
being
that
gagged?
mean? So-
Chlor's a little angry, I think.
I feel like
And
we're treading into personal territory.
that, well, yeah, no, we definitely did. Stuart, is there stuff you want to share with the class?
So
Is there stuff
the
your wife would be
idea
mad about sharing?
Being gagged. No, I'm fine. Everything's
fine. Anyway, Chlor is currently gagged and hogtied. And if anyone else would like to summarize what took place last session for us all, because...
Oh, that's easy. That's really easy. You wanna know what happened? Theo, what the hell happened?
I got us all arrested by being honest to the guard. Look, okay, like I got this opinion about guards. I think that they're supposed to be there to help the people, and I didn't know this law was particularly corrupt. So I thought I was being helpful by offering information about how we had absolutely nothing to do with the trains derailing. And,
Theo had
and as you know, I
self-incriminated
did
us
launch
to
a
an
protest
institute.
against that behavior and got myself punched in the face for it. So I will be registering a complaint with their supervisor.
A sternly worded letter will be sent to their manager.
Yeah, basically, Theo accidentally got the party arrested by being honest with the captain of the guards. And then got punched in the face for mouthing off. Where everyone else
Now we're
was
all bound on a
punching
train, slowly headed back to the city at an instant's pace so that we can't actually kill anybody just by throwing them off.
Yep. Sorry, guys. My bad.
So, yeah, that's about it. What started off as an evening of helping out some of the poor souls who were traumatized and damaged by a unfortunate train car accident has turned into a, you know,
No
criminal.
good deed goes unpunished.
Is
Basically,
there a good deed in any of all this?
We did kind of bandage up some folks.
All right.
that's a word to talk about how or to describe what you guys were doing. Pen.
A good deed.
I'm talking about you, Pen.
I don't know what you're talking about. How can I be responsible for the literal massacre that has occurred behind us in our wake?
Look, like I already told the guards, right? We had nothing to do with whatever happened here. We were just trying to help. That's all.
In my
We
defense,
were together the whole time.
I'm only responsible for half of the disasters that have occurred thus far.
Oh no, I'd say 5%.
1 out of 2.
Yeah, that's 50%.
So, you guys are back on a train car going, you know, twice your walking speed, and that's about as fast as it's going.
Rude.
It's a nice spacious metal box without, loads of people as you had seen coming in and out of said train cars.
There's straw on the ground. I like it when there's straw on the ground.
No, it's just a
Sitting.
dirty, sooty, nasty metal floor.
Uncomfortable wooden floor.
Not even wooden. It's like metal grate.
Oh, ow.
Ow, yeah.
So yeah, it's meant to be grippy when you're walking on it and your shoes are all covered in whatnot. As you've traversed the mines and other facilities west of the city. And there's a gnome operator. They're just kind of manning the dials and keeping an eye on things, and you can see some of the lights on the panel. Renningham that you were so conscious of before in the other cars, these ones are lit up, and the lights on the ceiling they're dim, but they're present, and you can see distinct from that are some unlit lanterns that are hanging there.
Do I recognize the stop lever, or was there whenever I was trying to pay attention to the cars that were flipped over earlier? Did I notice which one was this is how he stopped it, or did that one dude tell me?
You more just watched as this stopped vehicle, the gnome grabbed the one lever in the direction that you guys need to go and shoved the lever in that way. And it
How
slowly
far away is this lever
from you, 15 feet.
15 feet, you say?
Touch me! Touch me!
I cannot jump the distance, you'll have to touch me. Don't tell the elf.
So I'm gonna cast Mage Hand and just pull the lever going the other way.
Oh my god!
Sorry, before I do that, how attentive is the gnome that's running the?
I mean, that is his job right now, is to kind of just make sure.
He's
just kind of
this thing. He's not I'm just cruise control. I'm just gonna
You know what? Give me an insight check. Give me an insight check.
I got a +1, you motherfucker. You want to see an insight check? That is a 13.
So, you notice as you're watching this gnome that they might be looking over the dials, but it's kind of more like I'm following the pattern because I'm just doing the thing that I know I need to do, and it's just, the words that he's muttering to himself, you can kind of read. He's more like he's talking numbers and things that don't seem to have anything to do with the buttons and dials that would be
It's like doing
traversing
math.
the train.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Freaking nerd. Okay. So, I am going to telepathically communicate with Scott. Tell him to screech, and once he screeches, casting Mage Hand, reversing the lever.
Roll me a charisma check for Scott.
Come on, Scott. We're buddies. We're pals. 7.
looks over at you, looks up at the guard who's still kind of holding on to him, and
Oh, so cute.
Perfect.
looks back at you, fluffs its
Perfect.
feathers a little bit.
I give him a wink and then cast Mage Hand to pull the lever and reverse us, going the other way.
Okay, so I need to look up Mage Hand. I believe has like a strength score.
It's like 10 pounds, I think.
10 pounds.
Yeah, so it has to squeeze and then pull
We'll carry
the
more.
lever.
I mean, what's carry? You know, you got to account for like. Force,
Well, that's
by
because it counts also
distance,
as like 10 pounds of force. There's
with, like, hinge.
lots of things when it comes to that.
Math. Blech.
You say as we play a game that's based on math.
Yeah. Blech.
Is it really based on math?
Well,
Originally.
think about it this way: we roll the magical rocks, right?
Yep.
And
It's
then we
based on
look
shiny
at the number on
click-clacks.
the magical rocks, and then the number on the page to determine the percentile of whether or not we're gonna do well.
Okay, so there's no algebra involved, right?
There is sometimes when you're trying
Basic
to figure out
addition
the
at
angle
best.
of a shot.
Okay, I can handle add and subtract, but anything beyond that, I'm intimidated.
Give me a sleight of hand check.
Sleight of ghost hand check. I get you.
Well, actually, it's more. It's kind of more for you on the timing, kind of like you were picking a pocket.
Yeah, like a 5.
Okay, so you're like watching this gnome just kind of like do his thing, and as you go and you cast Mage Hand, and you're like, trying to, your hands are bound, so you're trying to like gesticulate the way you need to, and you're like muttering the spell so you don't have to say it out loud so that people understand that you're casting because your mouth is supposed to be muffled, and you're like, and you watch as the spectral hand just kind of like faintly glowing appears and moves over there, and the hand literally reaches over, grips the handle as the gnome's kind of cadence looks down.
Freaking gnome.
And watches as the lever begins to pull, and the gnome just kind of pushes with its finger against the lever. And then
I cast
turns.
Mage Hand twice. I put 2 hands on it.
Unfortunately, that's not how that works.
I know it's not how it works.
Oh, if only though. And looks
I cast
over.
300 Mage Hands. All of them. Focus.
What's the sound of
How
real
many-
hands clapping?
Yes, so you're gonna cheese it and take the feat that allows concurrent concentration 300 times. And you're also taking
One
ranks
for
in
each of my
sorcerer,
personalities.
so you can twin the spells and actually get 600 hands.
There it
Spend
is.
No.
600 sorcery points, which is totally possible. I promise, guys. He didn't cheese it at all.
I just put him on the other end of the train. I just push the train back. I don't even bother with the lever.
Yeah, just all the other trains you had to actually derail. You're just like, I'm gonna shove this one off the track. Screw it. 300 times 10 pounds each. That ought to be able to move a train car. Ton and a
Together
half.
strong.
Now, why didn't we do this when we were trying to get the train back on the track? Is my question.
Ugh.
I didn't know I had the power until it came upon me.
Okay. It's a necessity. I get it.
Ugh. So the gnome is pushing against it.
What's
Do you...
actually happening now?
So the mage hand is currently gripping and trying to pull, and the gnome is basically using a finger to put enough force back against it, as the hand is actually having to grip a lever as part of its movement, which kind of takes some of the force out of it. So, and it is now looking back at all of you,
I stop immediately.
and poof, the hand disappears. And the gnome is the only one who has noticed, as the guards are still rummaging through and, reading through your things and pilfering through, and they find Theo's adventure guild book, and the guy's holding it and pushes one of the text lines, and he's like,
Oh no.
ugh, closes it, shoves it back on the pile. So
That's guild property, so please do be careful with that.
the gnome just keeps looking at you guys.
Ooh.
Is he
Okay.
looking at me? Who's he focusing on?
He's kind of scanning across each of you. And he knows that, you you're supposed to be gagged. Which, are you still appearing as gagged? Or you give me a
I'm tucking it.
the closest thing to that would be like a stealth check.
Shit.
Wait, okay, so he's
Could it be
focusing.
performance?
It's a 3.
Oh
Wait,
my!
DM, just a question here. Could it be performance? Simply, if he's trying to, method act that he's gagged without actually being gagged?
Fine. I can see that argument of it being a performance check instead
So
of
I roll again.
a. Fine. I have been swayed. You have swayed your DM.
That's a 16,
DM,
boss.
I love you.
And the
That's a
gnome
16.
keeps just
I
kind of.
perform a 16.
The gnome is now what was, just kind of absently watching things, is now just actively leaning against the lever in the forward direction, just kind of scanning across all of you, going back and forth, trying to see if he can notice anything, and looks at Pen. You're one of them fancy folks who can do the magic and things, are you?
Maybe.
You trying to cause a bit of a ruckus here?
No, you'd see mine are visual.
All right.
But be careful. I don't control it. But I might have stolen something off of a burial ground in the past couple of months, and I might be haunted. The attacks can be intermittent.
The guards who are rummaging through the stuff are like, look over at you. Roll me a roll me a deception check.
Does it help the fact that Theo totally believes this at this point, and he's just like,
Wait, but I wanted to cast thaumaturgy while I was doing it.
So you said it without casting.
I want to do it, but I want to do thaumaturgy and then make all the ominous whispers just echo throughout the cabin.
Ooh, okay, okay.
May I interrupt for just a moment? How do I notice any of this going on? Am I able to clearly discern what's happening, or is it just sort of on the other side of the room? Don't really have an idea. Basically, how loud are they speaking?
I mean, they're speaking conversational, so you'd be able to hear them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
and to be honest here, DM, Theo, doesn't know any better. He totally believes that Finn is totally haunted. So yeah, he's definitely at this point dang, Finn, you never mentioned that before.
And it gets this really dark, not sinister, but just dark and almost haunted look about him as he, is he's focusing on making these ominous whispers appear, and it's just
the whole room
just
just begins to just kind of.
Sometimes they just lash out, and you never know who they're gonna hurt. Be careful.
Okay. Give me a deception check with advantage.
I can't see. First time. Okay, let's do it again. Oh, wow. A 10 isn't much. And that was the better of the rolls.
Okay. Let's see how they do.
Okay, before you go any further, I do have some other questions.
Okay, what are your questions?
There is
Ask
no
away.
open flame in this little room, right?
There is not
This
any
little
open flame
trail
that you
card.
can see in this open room.
Okay, so there's no open flame. That's a good thing. Okay, while this is going on, since I am kind of aware of the fact that we're running a little scam, if you will, I'm going to go ahead and cast Druidcraft while nobody is watching because they're all focusing on somebody else. And I'm going to create the faint odor of a skunk as it kind of moves through over the person that we're trying to befuzzle.
Give me just for just for posterity here, give me a sleight of hand check with this.
Okay. Do. Come on, work with me. Oh, hang on. Arguing with the software. There it is. And sort of. All right, let's try that. Yeah, there we go.
There's
Yeah,
a nat one.
hey, that's the name of our gig, right?
Okay then. Okay then. As the voices are creeping up, and as Penn is telling this story, and Bob had picked up fully that this was a complete and utter ruse. In your attempt to add, you're just kind of like, your internal monologue becomes your external monologue as you're like, ooh, a skunk smell might really help with this, and you're just kind of like,
Oh no.
and your hands are bound, so it's more like a, and suddenly the
You
stink
immediately poop your pants.
starts
Very,
to.
very, very slight. It's not overbearing.
Well, I mean, that's what the sleight of hand was for, is more of the, you're trying to be sneaky about it, because it's a
Okay.
vocal and somatic component to do druidcraft, and it's more like a,
Oh yeah.
now let's see if the guards actually,
Oh yeah, they notice.
you're surprised.
We don't know that. We don't know that. Not until
I
the
mean,
magic.
even though he's got his back turned to me, he notices.
And that's, yeah, no, all of a sudden there's also a stink that permeates now through the space, and the gnome continues to scan all of you, and like is trying to understand what is happening now that the guards are full on, their eyes are wide. They're like looking at the stuff, they're like trying to figure out what item it is so they can chuck it out the window. Like they're starting to be like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. The gnome, however, is actively trying to figure out which of you is making this all happen.
So, wait, I got a question for you, Ben. Here, I mean, buddy, like, how long has this haunting thing been going on? Like, I heard stories about it before.
Ben's still like coming up with this convoluted, the beings from the other side occasionally try to take back what belongs to them, and it's resulted in many a terrible occurrence, and it's a curse for those that travel with it. And okay, help me if I'm wrong here, because I'm probably the newest one at D&D out of all of us. If I have one spell that's only visual, can I do another spell that's visual and sound at the same time?
So it's vocal and somatic. So that's
Okay.
that's what VN has. Vocal means you have, the V is you have to be able to say words. Somatic means you have to gesticulate. So thaumaturgy only required you to gesticulate, and it is not a concentration spell.
Concentration spell. Okay.
So the voices can go on for a minute though after you cast it. So you've cast it, and now the voices are going, or the whispers are like as you're talking about it for a minute. Bob with his druidcraft, the stink. Let's see, where is the animal musk, faint odor?
This is gonna go terrible, guys, but this is gonna be worth it.
The concentration of the stench is only in a 5-foot cube, but it can kind of, for the sake of what's going on here, we'll let it permeate a touch. So
Okay.
Penn, what is it that you're trying to achieve next?
Penn's gonna like lock eyes and keep on his best bereaved and haunted look on his face, and cast Toll the Dead at the guard who looks the most absolute scared.
So while this is going on, though, Theo is like carrying on a soul conversation with Penn here. He's launched into one of his stories because he genuinely believes that this is a haunted. That's what's going on. So he's got a perfect story for this. Because I gotta tell you, pal, there's one person back in my hometown. I know that that's some ways away, but if you're really that concerned, I think she's quite familiar with this type of stuff. She's a lady from a bigger city who moved there. She knows a lot of things to do with different herbs and different things like that. Because once upon a time, old Miss Montgomery was having issues with spooks around her house. Things kept getting moved. Right? Originally thought it might have been squirrels or rats that had entered her house, but there weren't nothing detected. So the conclusion was that it must have been the ghost of her dead husband, who weren't a very nice man when he was alive. So it made sense that he would have continued trying to bother the poor old lady afterwards. And I can tell you right now, Miss Rosie, when she caught sight of it, she started speaking in a voice that wasn't hers, and then shortly after concluded, of course, that it was indeed old Mr. Montgomery, and the only way to deal with it was some combination of herbs. So if you're really thinking that you're haunted there, pal, I think once we're done here with our conversation with the guards, we could find someone similar probably in the city to help you out with that issue, because it seems like a really rough way to live and haunted by spirits that at any point in time can attack you or some
And
other people.
as Theo finishes saying this, Pen, who has been muttering this whole time the components of Toll the Dead, there is a ringing bong, bong, bong that gets louder, and you can see these ethereal, what starts off as just a faint shimmer in the air turns into a ghostly visage of a ringing bell, because the tolling of the dead and the death bells are pretty, ominous omen that dangles over one of these guards' heads, and his eyes just go wide and his face goes ghostly pale. And while he, sorry, go ahead.
Keep going. I want to see what
Oh.
happens. Sorry.
I say, and while he doesn't take any damage, he is there's now a puddle.
I cast Dissonant Whispers on him.
Oh shit.
And it's just verbal, so I just start muttering, and then the way that I'm saying, I'm looking around, I'm like, guys, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? What's going on with this guy? Like, that's the vibe I'm putting out as I'm talking, as I'm speaking the spell, but they can't understand the spell because I'm muffled, right? So they don't know like what's going on.
Oh god. All right. I'm gonna roll this die, and then let's see.
I got more I can add to this.
He nat 18'd, so while he does not suffer damage from this, there are now not only are the regular voices and whispers that are cacophonied in the room and the bell tolling on his head, the creeping whispers that begin to just kind of creep into his ears and into his head, and you can watch as his eyes just kind of start to roll back as he's just like, oh god, no, why? And he just kind of drops what's in his hand as he just kind of sits down amongst your things and just starts picking things through and trying to look at them, just kind of absently, and put them aside, and absently, and put them aside. And the other fellow guard is like, what item is it so that we can chuck it? Like, I know. The gnome is not buying it. The gnome is like, they are both amused, but also like, all right, if I don't figure this out, I'm in deep shit. Kind of like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And before we go much further, let me get Dave in here because he is available, and let's go. Enter the thing.
Because I got like 2 or 3
bam.
more things I can do in this situation.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, all of Theo's reactions to this nonsense is just genuine.
Oh, come on, I got another one just to feed right off of this. I got one more.
All of this is 100% real, man. Ghosts are real. You've seen that shit before.
And the gnome is just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What do you mean there's a haunted item? And the guards are like gesticulating at everything that's happening, and the guy who's on the ground is just like looking up at him, like eyes just, they're tiny. They're just like, I just want the voices to stop. Because now, even though the dissonant whispers has subsided, because that's only where it lasts for one action, right? Dissonant whispers, yeah, it only lasts for the one action. The other whispers in the room from Penn's thaumaturgy still going on. So
So the dissonant whisper, does he takes damage, doesn't he?
he succeeded on the save.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, on a
So-
failed
okay.
save,
Oh,
he
okay.
takes damage.
Different.
And on a successful save, they take half as much damage. You're right. You're right. They do. I missed that. Yeah. So I guess roll damage because this is just gonna make it even better.
Yeah.
So he takes three. Yeah, you roll 3d6.
Half of 3d6. I'm just gonna.
Yep.
So that was a 6.
Oh
That
God.
was a 6. That was a 2. So 6 and 6 is 12. 14. So 7. Takes 7 damage.
Okay. Well, let's. Okay. Yep. Got that down. So you watch as not only is he now just kind of like in his puddle of his own mess, he's just kind of slowly picking through your things. I'm sorry, there's now pee on your things, guys. Seeing as he's standing next to was standing next to all your stuff. He looks up from what he's doing, and you can now see that his eyes kind of have drips of like tears and blood in his ears kind of as well. And he looks up at his friend like, will you help me find it so we can get rid of it? And the other guard is just like, holy shit! And the gnome just like looks at them like, you idiots! They've got to be doing this! There is no way! Pen, you said you had other things lined up.
Okay, so never played a wizard before. Can I cast thaumaturgy again?
It will effectively cancel the first thaumaturgy. It's the best way of doing it because while I don't know.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. It'll work for I think what I'm trying to do because I want to do two things.
Oh God.
So I want to change the thaumaturgy to the rumblings of. Oh, hang on 1 second.
As Penn figures out what they want.
Apologies for the interruption. I had food delivered. Okay, so I want to change it so that the thaumaturgy starts making the car. I realize that we're on a rail, and so I assume there's some amount of probably rumblings, but rumblings of like the entire car that feels like the car itself is in its own earthquake. Obviously, it's not genuinely shaking it. It's not going to shake it off the rails or anything, but just so like everything in it feels like it's starting to be in an earthquake.
So it's more like you're taking the noise, the natural rumbles and rattles, and more like amplifying them in a bassy, unnatural way. Is that kind of what you're going for?
So that thing can start being like, oh, no, you've waited too long. They're coming now. This is when they break through. They're about to approach.
Is it just like almost the rhythmic rattling of the car on the train tracks amplifies as if something is chasing after them? Oh my God. Oh gosh. You know what?
What? Like Theo is getting freaked out at you.
Oh, jeez.
I got
Okay.
one last move I want to try and do.
Okay. Both of the closest guards to you guys who are rummaging through stuff are the one who's on the floor who is already messed up. He just stops and he just starts sobbing uncontrollably.
Oh no!
He just rolled a 4 on another like fear-based because you've created the right amount of. The other one is starting to actually like now he's starting to realize that this might be the end. And the gnome is just back there like, what the hell? This, like, it's just the rattling of the car. Like,
has the gnome moved off of the lever that he was leaning on?
He's standing up now, but he's still like, he's trying to figure out how you're pulling this off. He really is. Yes, Dave. Yes.
Can I ask what the lever's made out of? as
The
far as
lever
material?
appears to be made out of metal. However, you are currently bound and gagged and lying on the ground next to Theo.
Love that. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, yes, it appears to be made out of metal.
Pen, buddy,
I go.
calm them down. I mean, I'm not exactly to the fact that the spirits may occasionally get angry, but if you're in touch with them, is there any way that you could possibly talk them into, calming down a bit? I think that things are getting a bit heated here, and this is getting a bit much, buddy.
I got one last trick up my sleeve.
Oh god. Okay, what is your one last trick?
I want to cast Unseen Servant near the gnome, and I want the Unseen Servant to like slap the gnome as hard as it possibly can from behind.
A Will Smith impression. I got it.
Oh my god.
Will Smith,
Topical humor.
he does a Will Smith from behind.
Okay.
Well done.
Unseen Servant. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how this kind of... Okay, so you have played this out perfectly because your hands are not bound by chains. They are bound by rope.
Yep.
Which technically classifies as string
A piece
and
of
wood.
string.
And wood, because that is what reed is basically, or rope is basically made out of, is strips of wood turned into strings. So I'll buy it. I'll allow it. And you just kind of play with it, and you're just like, continue with, your story. And the thing is, with Unseen Servant, it is explicit in there. Has an AC of 10, 1 hit point, strength score of 2, and cannot attack.
Dun dun dun.
Can he jump on him and push? Like, it's not an attack.
It can
It's just
do...
an unseeable force.
It can do
plow into
fetching
him.
things, cleaning, mending, folding clothes, lighting fires, serving food, pouring wine.
Lift his shirt.
Um,
Lift his shirt over his head.
so in the context of everything that's going on, it would be like a dialed up version of Rinningham's Mage Hand. So you'd have a bit more oomph than the Mage Hand. The other thing is that there are, and it lasts, oh my gosh, for an hour. So you can just have this thing do all sorts of crap.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can have it start like messing with clothing and start tugging on random stuff, and also there's the lights. There's the lights in the ceiling that are supposed to be lanterns that are supposed to be manually lit if the electricity isn't running through the car.
Is
So
the gnome wearing pants?
the gnome is wearing pants. Are you about to pants the
In
gnome?
the Unseen Servant, please pants him.
Yes.
It's got a strength score of 2. So roll me a strength check for the Unseen Servant.
2 is like a -5, right?
-4, I believe. Yeah.
And 2 would be 8.
So
All right. I'm not doing it.
what'd you roll?
6.
So 6 minus 4 is 2. So you watch as the gnome's pants are slowly being pulled down, and the gnome is just like, "What?" And let me roll their check again to see what, because they rolled really high on the insight check to know that something was up. Let's see if they are now being convinced as they are now being messed with. They are not convinced. Oh, that was a nat 14. Just put gags on all of them and check that one. Looks at you, Renningham.
And as I'm like gesturing to my face and like saying stuff into the gag, I'm gonna cast Prestidigitation and have a gust of wind like sweep past him from behind.
And you watch as the clothing on the gnome just kind of ripples, and he just deadlocks with you. And just walks over and takes your gag, pulls it easily from your chin. Hi! Puts it back up, tight to your mouth, pulls the knot tighter. And the guards are honestly, they're just still like, how do you just not believe in ghosts? Like, and the gnome's just like, they've been fucking with you this whole time. This one's probably casting too, because every time they talk, something happens. Pointing at Penn.
I'm telling a story, dude.
Yeah, likely story, as things just start happening the moment you mention that they might start happening. It's almost like a bad story. It's almost like a bad picture book.
Regardless.
And these idiots took it hook, line, and sinker. So gods put a gag in their mouth, put a gag in his mouth, and I promise these things will stop.
It's a bit hard to
Clore just starts
They're just
crying,
little-
like you see tears coming down his eyes, and he gestures at the one guard that was also crying, and he just starts like sobbing into his gag, and tries to get like motion for the guard to come closer to him, and like try and empathize with the guard.
The guard, whose eyes are, tears and blood and just snot and everything, as he just looks over at you and is just kind of nods and just kind of slowly keeps going through the stuff. He doesn't know what to do anymore, and he knew his job was to go through your things, and so that's what he's gonna do until he knows for sure whether or not his life's actually in danger. But he for sure felt something. He doesn't really know what to. Oh, we lost Dave.
Bum, bum, bum.
Dave,
He'll be back.
no! Yeah, well, hey, I'll have to click him back in. But yeah, so now, and then the guard, who is more together, looks at the gnome, looks at you, Penn, looks at the gnome, and takes out some more rope and is like, okay, and just kind of goes over, which item is it in your bag that's haunted, please?
Ken's gonna look him dead in the eyes with like almost tears coming down, nearly tears. He's got watery eyes and everything. He looks so helpless as he looks up at this guard and just says, "It's the ring I swallowed."
Give me a deception check with advantage. You guys.
Can I just take the nat 20? I can't roll higher.
Yeah.
Nat 20. Nat 20. Nat 20.
Yay! Yay!
Okay. And the guard just kind of wide-eyed just kind of takes the rope and puts it up to your face and starts to try to bind you with a gag. Well,
Penn's gonna try and fight him off a little bit because Penn's gonna try and play up the whole. He's just scared. He's
start
trying
foaming.
to be like
Foaming at
he's
the mouth.
trying to be a little nervous. I'm like, you don't understand. They're gonna come after all of us. This is just the beginning. It's only gonna get worse. And he's not fighting against him, but he's definitely avoiding him and trying to scoot around.
yeah. And the guard's like, it's just a precaution. And he's not really there for it either, and he's just trying to do his job, man.
So can I still cast spells that have a verbal component while gagged, or is it with disadvantage?
It
Just
you
not at
can't.
Be able to speak
It's-
clearly.
Yeah, and if you can really convince me that you might be able to get close to saying what it needs to be, it would still be like a high DC charisma check, which you had to do initially anyway for the first spell, and you just happened to roll high enough for me to be like, okay, you've managed to make the mumbles sound close enough to what you needed to do that the incantation took place. There is there a feat silent casting? Is that a feat in 5e? I know it's in Pathfinder. Okay.
It could
so
be.
that
I
is a
think it's
thing.
called subtle spell is what it's called.
Oh, okay. Because that would be something you may want to, if you decide to try to avoid somatic or vocal components in the future, you may want to look into. But yeah, so no, you're not gonna be able to cast. And the guard continues and slowly wraps a gag around your face, Pen.
Sorry, I do got a question here. Like, I too am a bit unsettled here, but do you really think that rope is honestly the nicest thing that you can do? Do you not have a piece of cloth like the others? I mean, would that hurt poor Pen?
I don't really care right now. I'm just hoping that, that the gnome's right. And this all just stop. Otherwise, we may have to just throw him out of the train car.
After stopping it, correct? You're not just gonna pitch him right out of the train car while it's moving, right?
And the gnome's like, why would we stop? We have hours to get to our destination.
Because the idea of throwing something from a moving train car seems like it might be some sort of
You're a prisoner.
Health and safety hazard and violation, and to be honest, like
You're a prisoner? What does it matter? And he just kind of like, why should I care?
because we're still people, and I would think that even though we are currently in a state of taking to a center for guards for further interrogation.
My job is to get you guys there as fast as possible. They're the ones who get to decide if we stop or if we just push them out. They tell me what to do. Not my problem. And the guard's just like,
See, but the thing of it, sir, is that I thought that the responsibility of guards, and he's more addressing the guards now, not the gnome, was to help protect the populace, to keep law and order and then help people safe. Now, it would seem that throwing someone out of a moving contraption such as this train car would be counterintuitive to that goal. That's all I'm saying.
and the guard just kind of looks at you as you say it.
Can I communicate with Unseen Servant telepathically? Or do I get to control it without verbal?
I believe it functions telepathically, yes.
You mentioned something about lanterns. Can
There
Unseen Servant,
Yes, he can light them.
can they light things without a previous fire?
Yes, that's one
Um,
of the specific things that they can do.
Yeah, they can light fires.
Can I-
It's just simple. It's basically any simple task that a regular
simple
human
butler
servant can do.
household
Yep.
task.
Except in the case of it being magical, he can just, like, snap the fire into place. Kind of, it doesn't need a tinderbox and be scraping away at it, Yeah,
Okay.
you can.
Can he just this? I get him for an hour. There might be a lot of interesting Serbian tasks about to occur. He's like the lanterns.
That's some time.
So you're just basically, for the next while, since it's already cast, you're just going to kind of, like, keep making random things happen, like random tuggings on clothes and...
As you'll let me, yeah.
Okay.
I might be like, the servant wants to try and fold the shirt on one of the guards, but in order to fold the shirt, he has to get him out of it first. But it's still folding a shirt. What if he folds the shirt with the person in it? It's still a task a butler can do.
I mean...
A butler can help people dress and undress, DM. That's part of a butler job.
It's true.
I mean, the unseen servant was...
Undress their people.
The unseen servant was trying to do that to a gnome a little while ago with, trying to pull down some pants. Gosh, this is what this campaign has come to already. All right.
The unseen servant
It gets better.
schedule for one of the guards for the next week. Clears it and arranges all of his meetings in a most efficient manner.
Slowly finds the, oh, hey, yes, of course. Oh, yes, I can see that you had a meeting at 2 o'clock on yesterday. Did you go? Do you have any
Exactly.
notes from that? Oh,
Exactly.
yes.
Very, very clear.
Except
Very,
it's
very
silent
clear
and
with this.
invisible, and you just see a notebook floating with a pencil.
Exactly. Planned out like one of those logic problems.
All right, so unfortunately now there are 3 bound and gagged individuals. The only ones who are not gagged are Theo and Bob, who has been just watching after casting a
DM,
skunk stink.
in the event that the lantern lights up, something that Theo would notice.
I mean, yeah, it would change the lighting of the. It's the lighting in here is like a dim, and every so often, like as the rattling of the car happens, it kind of flickers and dims. Kind of think like a subway car, like just a not
Right,
very
so-
well maintained subway car.
If the unseen servant does one of the lanterns there, Theo, who is a bit paranoid at this point, that there is indeed, genuinely believes Penn when Penn is saying that he is being harmed. Theo would definitely draw attention to that, especially after that little conversation with the guard who said that he was hoping that gagging Penn would stop what was going on. So be like,
Okay.
yeah.
I duly noted for when if and when Penn chooses to do
Exactly.
different harassments. Bob, are you doing anything?
I'm still observing. There's not really a lot I can do at this point except enjoy the ride. Yeah, that's pretty much it at this point. I'm thinking about things, but there's nothing that's really popped up just yet. But there is potential. There's very good potential.
Okay. The guard who was crying and sobbing is slowly getting himself back together over the next like minute or two, as the more egregious of things that have taken place have stopped. There's no more bells tolling. There's no more just you know, really the only thing left would be the unseen servant.
I've got a couple other spells I can throw at you.
Okay. Because the thaumaturgy only lasts a minute, and so it has faded off, and the rattling of the cars is normal again as the train continues to go.
Can I cast fog cloud while gagged?
Does it have a vocal component?
Yes.
It would be quite difficult.
Okay, so in step 1, can I ask Teller to scurry up my back telepathically and chew through the gag carefully and duck my face as the gag falls off and go ahead and cast fog cloud?
All right, so, geez. Roll a stealth check for Teller.
It's just like a comedy of errors, and I am totally down for it.
Yeah,
Stealth checks.
this is just one thing after another after another.
I wish I could roll as Teller.
I think that is something they do plan on adding eventually, is the ability to have the familiars and pets character sheets as like sub sheets that you can.
Hey, not 20.
Hey!
Okay.
Shelby rolls tonight.
Cool.
Teller very carefully makes his way up your back and up into the cloak around, the back of your neck area, and just kind of looks around as you kind of just stay where you're at, and you can feel a faint tickle at the back of your head where he's slowly nipping away at the rope. You get the sensation back in your mind of, like, you get the visualization. Here's what it is. You get the visualization of, like, the sun kind of rising and setting, and the rope, slowly getting, whittled further and further down. You get the idea. It might take it's gonna take him a little bit. But quietly, just munching away and trying to, with his big chipmunk teeth. And
What a good boy.
And the gnome just keeps watching you guys and be like, "See, things stop when you guys are gagged." Oh, Dave's back. Let's get him back in here. Hey, hey. Bam.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Dave.
Yay! First
Sorry, you guys. Yeah.
So all you've missed so far, Dave, is Pen has now been gagged. The gnome.
Finally.
He also adjusted the gag on Rinningham, so Rinningham is now re-gagged. Teller, however, is currently on the back of Pen's neck in the cloak there, slowly munching away at the...
Very nice.
And the gnome kind of just is like, "See? We gag the people who can talk and can seemingly make things happen, and the things stop happening."
Okay.
Now, did before I rudely left? Did the guy I was crying at? Did he? What happened?
Oh, he just kind of like cried with you. Just he kept doing. It's one of those. He's like defaulted back to, "I'm just gonna do the order that I have, because if I don't do anything else, like, otherwise I'm gonna be doing nothing and just sobbing to myself." Like, he's just, it's like half catatonic, where I'm just like,
He's fallen into a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going through the things and sorting them, and picks up the Adventurers Guild book, and you can see that it's got damp. He puts it aside, and he's moving the backpacks and separating the backpacks from the goods, and he's just kind of quietly organizing to himself, kind of like what I do when I'm really stressed out, and just kind of take the doom box where everything falls into, and just kind of slowly try to figure out where the components of the doom box are supposed to go.
He's
just kinda doing
they
the-
do say that we put a little bit of ourselves into every character
Yeah.
we make. That goes out.
No
to
doubt.
you. I get you.
Can
Did,
unseen servant start to like repack one of the bags? that's empty?
Yes, but we're gonna let Dave finish what he was saying, and then yes. What were you saying, Dave?
Oh, I was just asking. I noticed that because I joined a little late, that Renningham was able to cast because his gag was too loose.
His gag was loose enough that he was able to kind of get his mouth out of it, and then be like
retightened.
intentionally hiding the fact that he'd be able to get it out just enough to like get the spell things that he needed to, and then get back underneath it. It was a deception type thing, and performance actually was the word that was used. Because
What are the odds that all of them were kind of loose?
how about you give it a shot in trying to wiggle your mouth free?
All right. What's the roll for that?
Usually like it would be dexterity. We're gonna say saving throw, or it would be an acrobatics check depending on the type of thing that's going on, as you just kind of like gently, quietly try to wiggle your way out of that.
Well, let's see. Oh, it's not popping up. Did it pop up for you?
No, it just shows as the dice has been rolled, but it hasn't given me a number on it.
Okay, let's try it again. That is an 18.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now give me a stealth check.
Oh boy. Let me see here. Where is my stealth? +2. Let's see. Oh, not stealthy. That's a 4.
Let's see how attention paying folks are to you.
So this is behind my sob, for whatever that's worth, with my 4. I'm like sobbing along with the other guard, trying to like, because up till now I've been pretty docile.
The guard who's watching, who's like you have eyes locked with, kind of sees the gag just kind of like slowly move out, and the gnome who's scanning back and forth at you guys as you've been talking, like I knew something was up, just watches as your gag just kind of like shifts in your mouth, shows me like fix that one too, and the other guard had his back to you, and so he didn't see it at all, and so they're like, huh, what?
Do I have time to get a spell off?
You have an action. Go.
I would like to, of course, light everything on fire. No, I would like to create bonfire, and but I want to light me and who's closest to me?
Theo.
Me.
Let's see. Who is Theo within? Is Theo's hands within 5 feet of my hands?
There is a 5-foot space basically between the two of you.
Okay, so I would like to create bonfire directly in between our hands, with the intent of burning our. Because you said it was.
You have manacles.
Rope.
You and Theo have manacles on.
Oh, then I don't want to do that. I thought I also had rope on.
The only ones with rope are Penn and Bob. Okay, Bob was able to convince his guard.
In the middle of the guy running the show, right on top of him. But I want to act surprised and scared when it happens and just keep crying.
So you're okay. Let me picture this here. You're gonna try to keep crying, and your hands, while bound, are kind of able to move enough where you're just like, and you're like, I guess, crying and casting through your cries as your mouth finally comes visible in the tears. Give me a deception check.
I can do those. Hang on 1 second.
As you...
Don't fail me now. Oh my goodness. It's an 8. A +5. I have a +5.
And it's a total of an 8?
But it's a total of an 8.
Oh, geez. All right. Let's see.
3.
Oh my god. Okay. So I love and hate you guys all at the same time. As the gnome tells the guard, like, go bound, fix his face. You're like still sobbing and everything like that, and the two guards are buying the sobbing, like it's just like
yes.
The gnome, nat 29, is just like, oh for fuck's sake. And then all of a sudden the fire shows up right on him. What the? Now he needs to make a dexterity saving throw. What is the save on that?
13.
Okay.
So DM, while this is happening, as soon as the fire goes, Theo again still fully believes that there are evil spirits at work here. So as soon as the gnome, gets bonfired, genuine reaction from our ranger here. He like kind of scrambles back as much as he's able to, and he says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like stumbling, and just kind of goes right into like, this is what happens when you try to tell people that evil spirits don't exist, man. I'm telling you, that's a bad idea.
Chlor, roll damage.
Yes. Oh,
okay. After we do damage, I need to jump in.
It's a 7 and it's fire damage.
Oh, I love it. Okay,
so the gnome, the fire just kind of appears underneath the gnome, and he's just like, I didn't do it! And he can't, but as he gets, you see his clothes start to burn, and you said he takes 7 damage?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. That is marked. And you can now see that like part of his body is just like, and his engineering like uniform is now like got smolder burns and marks in it, and he's just like just looks at you pissed. By his face. He's casting spells, and the guards are just like back to being like the one that, you know, was crying and looking at you, Clara, is back. So just like looks at you, looks at the fire, looks back at you. And he just stops what he's doing, and he just gets up and he just goes to the other end of the car, and he's just now like just corner. The other one is he's scared, but he has just enough wherewithal to be like, there's a chance that what the gnome is saying is true. It's erring towards this is a terrible situation and he's gonna die, but there's a chance that the skeptic is right, and he is holding on by a thread to that chance that the skeptic is right.
Or just yells, "Not again! I've seen this before, not again!"
He made the save on that, so that's where it was just like, oh, well, barely. Okay.
What did
Okay,
Bob work with?
so we have completed damage to our gnome, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And referencing back to earlier when I asked if there was any open flames in the car, I was ready for this. So as soon as I see the flame, I'm casting control flames. I am doubling the brightness of this fire and turning it dark red, which will last for 1 hour. And it is all somatic, so there's no vocals. I can do it while bound.
Yes.
Unseen Servant is gonna go and try and undress the dude who still believes the skeptic. He's just gonna try and fold his clothes after he gets them off him.
And DM, while all of this is going on, Theo, of course, is at the point where he's pretty much reacting kind of the same as almost the same as that guard, where he there is an evil spirit in this car. I'm telling you, this is what happens when you challenge a spirit. When someone tells you that there's some sort of haunting going on, you believe them.
I have something I need to do at the top of the next turn as well.
Okay. Let me just quickly go through something real quick. I may need Theo. If that is the case, I actually need Theo to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh yeah, this will be great. Sure. Why not? Let's try it. Wisdom save. Load in, computer. Come on. I can't even see that. That's a 21, DM.
All right. Yeah. No. You maintain some of your composure. You are on the roughly the same level there
Feeling
as.
bad about our rolls.
You get double digits at all, actually. That's what I'm mad about.
Oh.
Every time there's something more than 10, your face just gets so disbelieving.
You're trying your best to look at this, and you're like, there's a chance that the gnome is right, but if not, Penn is if the gnome is right, Penn is putting on a hell of a show, and you don't know Penn very well, so it could very well all be true.
Back in that small town, like I said, there was that lady who was being haunted by her deceased husband. It's a possibility.
So, Bob, the enhancements you've made to the controlling of the flames, you instantly expand the flame 5 feet in one direction. Double or have the bright. You only. Okay, so you have.
We double the brightness.
Double the brightness and change the color. Okay. Yeah. The guard who's in the corner crying, just like looks up as soon as the brightness changes in the room, and he's now like complete. Yeah. No. He's broken.
He's not opening up the door and jumping out yet?
No, he's just at basically he is way all of this is happening really at the front end of the car. So like the front maybe third-ish of the total space is where you guys are existing. He is all the way at the other end, opposite corner, just trying to pretend because he knows if he jumps out of the car, it's gonna hurt. You know, it's not gonna. And his job is to still be there. Like he's trying, but it ain't working too well. The other guard is, you know, still, yeah.
He's gonna hand in his 2-week notice once this is over.
Okay, so, the gnome, however, at the changing of the brightness and color, Pen, do you say anything with that?
Penn is just gonna make a guttural shriek, considering he's still technically gagged, and like cower away from it, and like, you know, duck his head behind his hands, like he's in fear of it, like. Oh!
The gnome is now slightly like holy shit.
Yeah.
As the flame brightens after it had tried to get out of the fire's way in the first place, and as he's getting out of the way, and he's like, "What the?" And then the flame immediately just turns around and brightens and changes color, and red is a very angry color, and the gnome is
dark red.
"Ah!" And the gnome just backs away into his corner over by like where the dials and levers and stuff are, like further into like, what is happening?
I'm telling you, man, this is what happens when you challenge an evil spirit.
And he looks at you, Pen, and it. Oh yes.
Nope. Finish what you're gonna say.
Okay. Looks at you, Pen, and it's like, and you said the thing that's doing this is inside?
Okay. At that, because neither of those guards ended up re-gagging Chlor, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah. So at that, Chlor starts shaking and goes, we tried to, it's happening. And then all of a sudden his voice changed and you just hear, release me or die. And his eyes roll back as if he's been taken over by an outside being, and he casts Witch Bolt at the one that he previously had already injured.
Okay, so give me
his hair rises, and his little trinket on his wrist starts spinning in circles and circles, and he just casts Witch Bolt, and it's just this bright light.
Give me a performance check. With advantage.
Theo would be freaking out at that. He's next to Chlor. This is terrifying.
Yes, actually, yeah. Theo definitely will need a wisdom saving throw after this.
We're turning into a band of bards.
Yeah, that's a 14 with the advantage.
Okay.
16
great.
on the wisdom save.
Yes.
Theo, now you have roll me an insight check, Theo.
Insight check.
Insight
All right.
check. Yep.
16 as well. What is with my rolls tonight? I usually don't roll that high.
Theo now has an inkling.
Sorry, Stuart.
Theo now has an
Sorry.
inkling that at the very least, Chlor is acting.
All right. Well, at this point, though, I don't think he necessarily cares, DM. These guards.
I mean, it's just more for context for a character who is, because now the guard and the gnome, unfortunately, they are both like. And who did you hit with the witch bolt? Who did you aim at?
The gnome's in charge, right?
The gnome seems to be the one with enough about him to call the shots. Yeah.
Then him, because that's why I lit on fire. Yes, him.
Okay. Blah, blah.
It's a attack roll, right?
Yes, a beam of crackling energy. Yes, you have to roll to attack.
And DM, just to let you know, even if Theo does have an inkling that this is a performance, at this point in time, you know, he's already had this conversation with the guards before. They hit him while he was, they hit Chlor while Chlor was down. So at this point in time, like, his care for these guards is lowered just to the point where he can't do much to help.
Specifically, you would have the idea that Chlor is hamming it up. It's
Yeah,
it's
Theo
more
is
is
not
to
gonna
be
let on
more
any other.
okay. Okay.
No,
I
mean, when
just
said
figured I'd let
faking
you
it,
know that
even
that's
with that. Theo is just like,
okay.
all right, I get that Chlor is faking at the very least, but at this point in time, I
10.
really don't give a fuck. These guards hit him while he was down. They punched me for pointing out that their behavior was bad. So there ain't much that I can do while I'm tied up. What I can do is continue helping out with the hamming up. So, once
So-
again, I told you folks, this is what happens when you mess with evil spirits.
The to hit was what, Chlor? Chlor, what'd you roll to hit? Oh, Dave is muted.
I'm sorry. I can't see it. Can you see it? Because
Oh.
I rolled it.
Okay.
And it didn't.
Okay, it's a 10. Okay, 10 to hit.
That sucks.
Your witch bolt, as you pretend to be possessed, kind of just goes wide, and it blasts past the gnome's head, and the gnome, his eyes already wide because he's a gnome. He's already got big wide eyes. Already just get wider. I thought he's the one who ate it. Why are you acting up?
It's got me. Run. Release me.
DM, can I?
Yeah.
Has Teller finished chewing through the bonds yet, or are we still chewing?
Roll me a or some percentile dice. Let's just go. Let's do it that way.
I mean, Mr. Conductor, sir, haven't you ever heard the stories about evil spirits that possess people? Vengeful spirits, they don't got their own body. Sometimes it's much easier to just possess someone else. I'm telling you, man, it's a bad idea.
Anyway, DM 41.
You can feel that the tension has lessened, but peering through Teller's mind, you can see that he's still working at it.
Okay, then I'm good. I can't do anything yet.
Okay.
Are we at the top of the next turn yet?
We are basically at the top of the next turn. So, you know what? For the sake of simplicity, we're gonna say everyone should roll initiative, but this is not a combat. This is more for keeping an order to as you guys do things.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna now if yours depends on another person, we can collaborate on that.
Somebody rolled a nat 20. I'm not gonna say who.
It didn't.
Why,
It was a +2.
why it was chosen to happen now.
I'm pretty sure it was an 18.
But
No,
Oh, you were-
Rinningham.
No,
Rinningham.
Rinningham now rolled a nat 20, is what he's saying.
Other than that,
Yeah.
for now, for the time where I can't do anything because I'm
got a
bound and
15.
gagged still.
All right,
How many dice are in your dice jail?
They get periods
Okay.
of released on good behavior because I only have the one set. I don't know where my other set went.
You have two, wait, you only own 2 sets?
Yeah.
Wait, Are you
What type of D&D player are you?
What?
I'm the kind that doesn't play a lot of in-person D&D.
Okay,
But
but
shiny click clack
collect
math rocks,
that.
you can hoard them.
Also
how do you
poor.
know
Also I'm poor. All right, I'm sorry.
Your character.
All right, we are now starting a GoFundMe just to raise dice bags for Rinningham.
Exactly. We know his color scheme. We gotta find nice dice that'll go with them.
Totally disregarding he's got, a wife, a kid, a dog, a house with a mortgage.
Another kid on the way.
Oh, that's
Budget
right.
for
Another kid.
dice.
Yeah, where's your line item for dice, Stuart? Come on.
They're not choking hazards. It's not like I can just have them around the house.
Keep them on a high shelf. Lock them up.
They'll
Anyway,
find
sorry,
a way.
go ahead.
It's 35 cents.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just collect all the dice. All right. So, top of initiative would be Rinningham. Do you have anything can you try to do?
I'm just gonna struggle. Can I? Like. Can I see what was the animal that chewed off Pen's gag?
It is currently Teller, his chipmunk,
Teller. Okay.
is chipping away at. However, you don't know that.
But can I see it?
You would have to roll a perception check intentionally.
Yeah, I'm
For
gonna.
that.
I noticed that Pen no longer has their gag on. I'm gonna try and see how they got it off, and if I notice.
Well, they're still gagged. It's just more loose than it was before.
But they're able to cast verbal spells.
Not yet. They haven't.
Oh. Well, then
They only have the existing spell that's out that they can still keep messing with. Telepathically.
I can't really cast anything. Could I try? Even though I'm gagged, I can't do anything.
For now.
Are my manacles are made of metal?
Yes.
Are there any rough spots on them? Like, are they rough cut or are they like well made?
They're rough cut.
Okay, so can I like rub them up against my gag and try and cut through the cloth?
You can start trying to friction burn through the cloth or the gag. Yeah.
Like if there's a rough spot, yeah, and I can kind of like. Well, can I move my hands up towards where it's tied and like?
So yeah, you're more or less bound, kind of like to the wall, kind of like this. With you have play space, because it's manacles with a chain, and so yeah, you'd be able to kind of start.
Forward.
Yeah, you can kind of start doing something like that and try to.
You can pull it down off his face at that point.
Well, it's snug. Like, do you know? I mean, it's intentionally now in a very uncomfortable snugness.
Yeah, and I can't like turn my head enough to get to where it's tied to
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to get your head completely around to undo it.
Right. Okay. So
would require like this.
Right. I'm gonna try to start using the rough metal of my binds to wear down my gag.
Are you trying to be sneaky about it, or are you just trying to do it?
I'm just trying to do it.
Okay.
There's enough chaos now.
Yeah, there's no sneak.
Yeah. So okay. Roll me. I don't even know what this would be. This probably isn't even much of a check, other than you're just gonna try to make that happen.
It's just a DC.
We're gonna say, since it's we're
just roll something.
Roll me a survival check, because we're gonna do this kind of like you're undoing a knot intentionally at the knot level, which is survival checks usually.
Yeah. So that's an 11.
Okay. You definitely feel like you're doing something.
Good.
Okay. All right. So next in initiative would be Pen. Pen, what are you doing?
Has anything changed from the percentile dice now that we've rolled initiative, or am I still just waiting?
No, you're still waiting as Teller does his thing.
Okay, and I don't have vocal capabilities. What else can I do?
If you try to do something through the gag, it's just a very high DC charisma check. Not even a saving throw. It's just...
if that's, I'm willing to try. I mean, other than that, I'm just kind of sitting on my hands waiting for Teller to finish. So, I want to try and cast Chill Touch onto the gnome.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Roll me your charisma check.
Charisma or my to hit?
Charisma check first.
Okay. Charisma, where are you? 15.
You are thinking about the spell, and you are mumbling against the gag, and you're just kind of like and then you're trying to like react to the flames and also cast a spell, and nothing happens.
Okay.
And that is Pen's turn. Okay. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? It would be Chlor. Chlor, you are on the floor. Your face is still uncovered. You are still bound.
Yeah, this is pretty simple for Chlor here. We're just going to uh at this point he's just going to uh keep the facade up regardless of who believes it. And we're going to Eldridge Blast at, let me see here. Yep. Eldridge Blast at Mr. Gnome Guy.
So are you maintaining the whole, like, I'm possessed and not in control of my body? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. No. Well, yes, but I have no control now, so everything I do is going to be slow motion. Chlor just kind of slowly looks over at the gnome, eyes rolled back. I told you. And then Eldridge Blast at said gnome.
Give me another performance check as you try to. It's a fine line between whether it's just straight up deception or performance check, and in this case, since you're really laying into the theatrics, we're gonna make it a performance check.
Yep, it's just a 10.
What does
This is
Mr.
more for-
Gnome think of that?
This is more for the guards to just keep them believing.
I mean, DM, does it help at all that Theo is kind of assisting with this? With he knows that Chlor's acting, but he's playing it up by continuing to talk about like evil spirits.
Yes. That, and I'm sorry I haven't actually acknowledged it, but it's one of those. It is playing into how the guards are their checks and everything is being handled. Like it is. I'm trying to keep all of that within frame, as Chlor casts.
I just wonder if counted as like the assist action or anything.
It's less formally an assist because it's all currently like
Gotcha.
verbal theatrics. It's more like it would facilitate advantage, disadvantage, or adjusting what the checks that the guards would have to make, depending on
Gotcha.
context. So, Chlor, you rolled that. The gnome looks at you as the bolt of Eldritch Blast fires. Roll to hit.
Oh my gosh. 16.
Roll damage.
Come on, you. That would be a 5 points of force damage.
Uh, 5 points of force damage.
Right to the chest.
Yeah, we're gonna. Because he took. Oh my god. So the gnome is like, see, he's casting spells. He's faking it. And the guard is just like, huh? And then the blast of energy leaves your hand, fires across, goes through this bright red fire, and just pops a hole through the gnome.
Oh, let's go. Wait a minute. So Chlor, as he interrupts the gnome with a hole in his chest, just turns at the guards and just smiles. Right at the nearest guard, right in his eyes, just smiles.
And the gnome standing there looks down, and you can see this blackened pit in his chest. And it's got still some of the smolder on his clothes from when he was in the bonfire like all of 20 seconds ago. And now it's got this like nasty, sooty, black, purpley. And then falls over. Eyes wide, and his hand is still pointing over at you, Chlor, as his body goes stiff. Or limp, really, is actually more accurate. His body goes limp. The guard, who was just told to gag you, with disadvantage.
That I'm currently smiling at.
Yeah, nope. He's basically screams and heads to the other end of the train car, and yeah, they're the guards who are there are basically like, listen, I didn't sign up for this bullshit, and opens up the back door, and you can now there's a quick moment where the air just kind of pressure just kind of changes, and he's looking around at the outside, and you can see that the car is rolling, and you can see it's moving fast, but it's like it would kind of suck to jump out. Um, but that's a really, you know, or he can try to stop, and there's the lever like right over there, and because there's one on each side of it, and he looks over at you guys, looks over, and is like, what? And his friend who's in the corner hasn't looked up. He just is hearing things, and he's just more like, he's just back like this. He's like, no, just no, just no.
Oh, poor guy.
And this one who's got just enough sense of self-preservation, he's just like, I'm out, and he jumps out the back of the train car.
Bye.
The other one, after hearing the thump and the ow and the as the guy kind of flumples outside, looks back at you guys and sees the fire is bright, and you can see it reflecting in his very glassy, glazed over eyes. And he looks over at the gnome laying on the ground. And his expression no longer really changes. He just turns back to the wall and just covers his ears again. And just... this is not happening. This is all a bad dream to him. That's what he has to tell himself. Okay. Thank you, Clore. Next in line... next in line is was going to be the gnome, followed by the guards. So cool, I guess. Is Bob.
Okay, at this point, we're going to cast Control Flames again on the same bonfire, which is now bright red and putting out twice as much light. And we're going to cause a simple shape of a specter with an outstretched finger pointing and moving between each of the guards to appear within the flames, and it will stay there for the next hour.
There's only one guard left, right?
There were other guards who were kind of like at the other end, just kind of minding their own business, and they're kind of in between where the previous guard was, who just ran out. Now they're much more afraid, and the other guard, who's like catatonic, they weren't paying attention to really like the first half of what was going on until things started to get escalated, and now they're just like, they're more like, what the fuck, as opposed to like, oh my god. However, they now have to make the save again. Theo also will need to make a wisdom save.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because while he knows what was going on with potentially going
That's
on
a
with
15, but DM,
All right.
he was not anticipating Floor killing a guy.
Yes. Let's just say that your status about this whole thing hasn't really changed, other than you now question, you now have to question, is Clore possessed, or did Clore actually just kill somebody just I mean, was it really cold blood though?
Okay,
Wait.
lukewarm blood.
The two guards that weren't as phased are now that the fingers are reaching out from the flames and kind of pointing at them as like tendrils, and they're watching as it slowly creeps. They're like, nah, I don't want to even, I don't. One looks to the other, looks at the open door, and just hops out. Just like, nope. And you hear the pump and ah, and you hear like a crunch, and then you hear very little. Now there's just two guards left. One who is staring in the corner, and the other guard who is just kind of like really really lost. Theo, I'm sorry that you were at the bottom of initiative, but there you are.
Oh, that's fine. Doesn't
What?
matter. There's not much Theo could do anyway. He is, I think, the only non-caster in the party, so he's basically limited to, physical and verbal reactions to my apologies to the viewers. I don't get spells to level 3. But Theo's quite genuine reaction to seeing all of a sudden, this gnome with just like a hole in his chest and then fall over is to immediately try to get as far away from Chlor as possible. Performance, possession doesn't matter to Theo at this point. His visceral reaction to seeing someone dead, a person dead. This is not the same thing as, hunting a deer or a boar for game. This is a sentient being capable of carrying on conversation and forcibly gagging talkative Verdans. He, immediately jolts back as far as possible, and he's like staring wide-eyed at Chlor. He says, holy shit, you fucking killed him! And he's gonna, even with that 15 of a wisdom save, that is something that he's never really seen before, is someone killed in front of him. So there's quite a bit of hyperventilation pending. So he's just gonna kind of be like,
Okay. So, mostly reactions out of Theo, which means
so
we are
what
back.
else can I do, DM?
I'm not judging. It's not a bad thing. It's more just like, okay.
Ranger without spells for 2 levels. I'm a martial unit.
I got it.
So, Rinningham, back to you.
How far along is my
roll me some percentile dice. Roll me some percentile dice.
What if I hit you with like a potential 91%?
You realize that if you get it close to where your teeth are, you can kind of grip it tightly and really get extra force against there. It is.
If I had a nickel.
That's a very interesting thing to be making money off of. So and you feel like you're making some halfway decent headway. And that's really your action, I guess, for this turn, because you haven't made it all the way through yet. However, it is now Pen's turn. Pen, roll me some percentile dice. As you wait, you can feel it loosening more and more, and you can kind of like move. You can, as you move your mouth and move your lips, you can feel it give more and more, but it's still there. And
Can
in
I
the
reach
back,
my hands up and pull on it?
yeah, actually, give me a strength check.
16.
Oh, holy crap! Yeah. In your mind, you're like, tell her, hold on a second. Tell her, like, backs up half a second, and you just like reach up because there's no one really watching you anymore, and you pull, and you can feel where it was kind of loosening in the back of your head. It just snaps, and it's just like, there you go. You are now unbound. I would say that's probably like a move action, so you still have like a standard action if you want to take something.
Okay. So there's the guard crying in the corner, and there's only one guard left, and the rest of us is us, right?
Yep.
And we still have giant demonic flames with hands reaching out towards the guard, and Chlor frothing at the mouth practically, trying to...
Yeah, burning holes in people.
Yeah.
And then you still have Unseen the Servant.
Yeah. Unseen Servant, he's gonna try and help tie this man's shoes while this is going on repeatedly. And and we're gonna cast Toll the Dead on the poor guard. not the crying guard, the currently normal concerning doesn't know what to do guard.
Okay. He's gonna make a wisdom save. Cool, I guess. Roll damage. He failed. He rolled a nat 4.
It's only 1d8. He's only got 1 damage.
So the guard who is just like, I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but people were screaming, this guy's catatonic, what the hell? And all of a sudden there's a shimmering visage of a bell that starts to bong back and forth over the course of several seconds, and at each one it gets more and more visible, and this weird ethereal, translucent thing. And on the final bong, he hears it ringing in his head, and he feels the hairs on his down his spine, and his ears just kind of hurt, and he's like, I don't really want to be here anymore. And he's looking out the door like, yes, please. That is Penn's turn. He is still in the cart, but he is not gonna be in the cart for long.
That close.
Let's go to next in initiative is Clore.
Perfect. So the the bonfire that Clore had created is now gone. But the flame is still there, right? Because Bob had controlled it, and now he's controlling that flame, or is everything gone? Because now the create bonfire, the concentration's over.
I assume that the bonfire's gone because I was just doing an enhancement to the previous.
Oh yes, and I forgot that I didn't realize that Witch's Bolt is a concentration. So yeah.
Or no, yeah, exactly.
Wait a second. Bonfire's not a concentration spell. Oh no, it is. It is concentration up to 1 minute. You're right.
Up to
Never
1
mind.
minute. So it would just be it would be done now.
It would have been done. It would have been done before the fingers were made, but we'll just say that it's now gone.
Okay. Well, perfect, because he's gonna cast it again.
Okay. Now, where are you casting it now?
Just right in the doorway, so not attacking anybody, but so no one can leave.
But we want them to leave.
Well, so he casts create bonfire in the doorway, and he says, "Hi there," like in his perfectly normal voice now. Stop the cart, and you can get out. To the last 2 guards, and that's it. That's literally it.
Are you saying it just
trying to
plainly, or are you saying
Just
it like
absolutely as in normal tone, no possessed, just sorry, I lost my voice, but he's just, hi there, just stop the cart and you can go. Almost as if like understanding that he's scared. Like just stop the cart and you can go.
just for posterity here? Roll me an intimidation check with everything that's gone on.
What's wrong with my rolls? I have a +5 on all these rolls. That is a 9 total.
He's still
join the
failed.
club.
He still failed.
He still failed.
You
He had a 7.
Oh my
So
God.
he just kind of
I've rolled a 3, a 7, and a 4, and I have a +5 for all.
he reaches back
You still
and
beat
just
him.
grabs the lever and just kind of shoves it into position. You start hearing, before you hear the screeching, you kind of feel the cart just kind of like start to slow down. Like the change in velocity is physically apparent. And then you hear the screeching as the brakes begin to engage, and it starts to screech to a halt. And out the back, now that the doors are open, you can actually see like little white sparks occasionally pop out behind. Oh, actually, no, there's a fire in the way. Never mind. You don't see jack squat.
Well, for my reaction when he pulls the lever, can I just drop it?
Yep, you can do that.
And I'll just smile at him and say thank you.
And as the cart is slowing down, he's just gonna hop out. And you watch as he just kind of like stumbles and he's like running after the cart as it's slowing down, and just kind of goes off into the distance, and you can no longer see him after like a couple seconds because the cart's moving fast enough and he's not keeping up with it. So you guys are now all alone except for the guard in the corner who's just crying to himself. And at the fire that appeared next to him, he just like sobbed at it and just turned back, and he's just. And now that the thing is coming to a stop, he doesn't react like at all. You guys managed, like, one, he rolled terribly, but you guys managed to really scare the piss out of this guy. You know, I had a whole encounter set up. You guys,
Okay, so we
It's
are.
whatever.
DM, I'm so sorry.
Have we come to a stop officially?
It is still rolling to a stop. You have another couple seconds or so before it does. In fact, it is your turn, Bob.
Okay. So we are the only ones remaining in the in our vehicle right now.
Only ones that seem to care.
Okay.
The other one's not lucid.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stand up, and I'm going to go over to the gnome and check to see if he is dead or mostly dead.
You are still have binds on, so you're not gonna be able to really.
Well, I can do this.
Well, you're
Oh, we're
on
down
a
to the
wall
wall.
opposite to. Yeah, there's.
Oh, I'm tied to the wall. That's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
We have
Okay.
Yeah, that's why most of your motion has been limited this whole
Okay,
time. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. I thought only other people were. I thought I was special.
No, everybody.
Everybody. Okay. At this point, then I need to figure out a way to get unbound, which is what I'm going to be concentrating on for the next few moments. And that is my turn.
Okay. And we're gonna finish up with Theo's turn, and then we're gonna take a 15-minute break.
Okay.
Theo uses his turn to have an existential crisis. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the deal is the gnome, technically speaking, hadn't actually done anything to harm anyone else. The man was just doing his job. Well, Theo was all aboard, you know, screwing with the guards who'd been brutal and hurt poor Clore. He's not anticipating that. So he's just kind of, you know, sitting there like doing what he's got to do to recollect himself, and that's his turn. There's nothing else he can do.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna stop, take a 15-minute break, and we'll be back in a little bit with as the cart continues to roll down. So go chill out, get a snack, beverage, or something, and we'll be back. All right, we are back. Oh, are we back? So, before the break, the party had managed to scare the bejesus out of all of the guards, where would rather not tempt fate against an unseen mystical force that was showing incredible energy and power and
aggression.
killed a gnome through the possession of one of the prisoners.
Evil spirit. I'm telling you.
And the last lucid guard pulled the lever on the brakes and started to slow the train car down shortly after or shortly before jumping out of the cart himself. And that's where we left off. So, do we want to keep initiative? Do you think order matters, or is it back to it's up to you guys if you think you can start
think
kind
order
of
Someone get me
matters.
out of these chains, please.
Yeah,
Really
we gotta
like
figure that
this.
out.
Pen, roll me a d20.
Eight.
Teller. Oh wait, no, you've already pulled the binds off. Never mind. I was about to be like, Teller has managed to finish biting through your
Oh no, I
Gag.
pull him down.
muffle
broke
gag. There we go.
Gag.
That's the word.
Okay.
Ah, I love it when the brain forgets the words.
I'm gonna ask my unseen servant to untie the ropes on Bob's hands because it's just a knot tying. A butler knows how to tie knots.
That
Have to
is
do it when they're
inaccurate.
dead
Yeah,
people.
and
The
so
manacles Bob and I'll have to work together on, but we can at least get the ropes off Bob and myself.
there is an incapacitated guard. So
Oh, well, who cares?
well, I say incapacitated, but yeah, no, the
Try to
Bob,
tie.
your hands are now
As long as he's
freed.
incapacitated, we're good.
Your hands are now freed.
Okay. So am I the only one with freed hands?
Currently,
As
yes.
soon as he finishes on you, he comes over to me and unties my binds. But that's doesn't have to
Okay.
be my turn.
At that point, I'm going to check with Pens. Like, are you good with your binding situation? Because I'm going to check out the dead guy.
Yep.
All right, cool. At that point, I will go over to the gnome and find out if he is dead or mostly dead, in need of a chocolate.
I'm still partially alive, right?
Well, not mostly dead, but
Does he need some chiropractics done?
you might.
He gone.
Beyond all reason,
I'll
the
chlorine.
gnome still has a pulse.
At that point,
There's a lot we could do here.
I'm going to find a set of manacles, put them on the gnome, and then after doing that, cast Healing Word.
So, for reference here, the gnome was managed to self-stabilize. He succeeded all of his death saving throws. He did not take enough damage to be insta murdered. So, yeah, gnome is lying on the ground. So you're gonna go find a set of manacles. That's gonna take you a minute, as the only person who might have either a way of relieving some manacles off of some of your cohorts or having another set would be the guard who is cowering in a corner, crying, sobbing to themselves.
At which point, I'm going to walk over, and since he's crying, I'm not exactly intimidated by him. I need a set of manacles.
Doesn't respond.
I'm just going to feel around on his waistline, see if I can find a set.
You're giving the guard a reach around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Flinches and you just kind of he squirms, and you can tell that everything about this is going to be very permanently ingrained in his mind.
Poor thing.
And you don't find a new set of manacles, but you do find a key ring with some keys on them.
That's what we're going to take then. At which point we're going to go to the closest person who has manacles on and see if we can find a key that will unlock them.
That would be Clor, who's lying on the ground.
Or let's see if we can get you unlocked.
Oh, this will end well.
I accept.
So for reference, Clor was basically hogtied. He had his hands.
Yeah, he was a problem
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, he was pretty. Yeah.
Still wasn't enough.
You fought back, man. You did.
They were trying to calm me down. It did not work well.
Yeah, calm. That was the opposite reaction that we got.
All right,
Okay,
so Floor, you now have freed your. You have free wrists and legs.
Which tonight I'll turn over the keys to Clor and go and chain up Mr. Gnome there, and then cast Healing Word.
Yep, and I'll get everybody else out.
Sweet.
All right, so Rinningham is bound by manacles, and then Theo is also bound by manacles.
Perfect. Not anymore.
Okay. The gnome takes
As
a deep
Clor
breath.
unties Theo, he just doesn't look him in the eye. He won't. He
Oh.
won't make eye contact. He just
Oh.
like in a shameful, like like Clor's ashamed of what he knows Theo thinks of him now. So he's like, not like a don't look at me, like whatever, but just like a don't want to make eye contact for fear of what he might see.
Right. I mean, Theo at this point is not making eye contact with anybody. At this point, he's just looking at it. But he does, kind of mumble thanks when Clor lets him go. He's got enough manners to at least thank Clor for letting him go.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Rinningham.
start sorting all the stuff out. Getting our possessions back.
Luckily, only some of it has pee on it.
Are you gonna tell us what, DM, so we know?
I would have to go through all of your items lists.
Just your favorite shirt. That's all you need to know.
I mean, your Adventurers Guild guidebook
Yeah, I know about it.
has pee on it. If you guys are all kind of like actually, Pen, give me an investigation check. We'll do it this way.
And
You have time, so you're gonna kind of sift through some of the things and try to organize whose is whose, and you realize that it's mostly like field items that are damp and will just need to dry off and maybe air out so that they don't stink so bad, or simple washing off. It's not like it's imbued in anything other than a couple of things that are cloth like. So it's really not bad. It's not like it wasn't a huge puddle. I mean, the guy was wearing clothes and armor, so it's not like he just all over the place. However, you do notice that Theo's notebook is still gone, as one of the guards had tucked it away. And the guard who had taken whose money was it that they took?
Ren's
Yeah,
money.
I believe it's Rinningham's. Yes, Rinningham. Unfortunately, your money is also gone.
God.
Not just covered in piss. It's like gone.
Oh, it's gone. It was put in the belt of one of the guards who jumped out.
Boo.
Yeah, not the one who is scared out of his mind. No, the guard with the wherewithal kept the money and the book. All right, so Bob, as you are
Guys,
tending,
you had to down with kill him. Sorry.
Bob, as you cast Healing Word on the gnome, it takes a startled like what, and you suddenly start straining against the manacles that you've put on it. What?
Whoa,
What?
Easy.
What
easy.
the
You're still
fuck do you
recovering.
mean
Don't
easy?
hurt
You
yourself.
shot me.
I
What a-
didn't do it. I just brought you back to life.
You glares at you, Clor. You shot me, and this was all a ruse. I knew it was all a ruse. I tried to tell them it was all a ruse. I knew it.
Okay, guys, this guy's going to be a problem. Should we just leave him by the side of the road here?
Why did you
Leave
bring
me
him
by
back
the
in
side of the
first place?
road.
Because I'm a decent human being. There's no need to let him die. I mean, he's a jerk, but geez, he serves a function in the world.
Is he wearing those gloves that the other gnomes were wearing?
He's back to the glove.
Give me an investigation check.
He totally is.
He has to be, right? Has to be, totally.
They're in his pocket.
Every gnome was wearing them.
Can I
That's
roll it
true.
again,
All the ones that we
please?
saw had him.
He is bound, so sure, I'll give you advantage on
Okay,
that.
thank you.
What did you roll? Just out of
I
curiosity.
rolled a 2.
Okay.
But this is a 14, so better.
You ruffle through his garments, and you do find in his pockets a set of leather work gloves.
Okay.
We're so dead.
I pocket them. They're in my pocket.
What? Why would you? Those are mine. Hey, hey, hey! I ain't
Now,
touching any of your
now,
shit.
Well, hold on.
Touching
hold
my
on.
shit.
That's my stuff. You ruffled through plenty of my things.
I
You
didn't
and your
touch your
friends-
shit. They
you
touched
and
your.
your
I don't
friends,
work
they
for them.
were involved with you. You were driving
Cunningham,
around.
give him your gag.
What's he gonna do with it?
Put it on him.
Oh, you want me to gag? Okay, I'm not. I just know a bow knot as I try to tie the gag on him.
Roll me a survival check.
Come on.
We earn your merit badge and all.
What did you roll? What did you roll?
It was a nat 20.
Are you gonna be shitting me?
Why are these? Why can
That's
I
the
get?
one.
I'm
That's the
That's the
wasting.
gag
third.
of all time.
I'm wasting
That's a
them.
third.
That is our third nat 20.
My survival is a -1. If that.
So it's a modified 9.
factors
All right,
in.
so it's a
Modified
19.
Natty 20.
So, it's a question here, Runningham. Were you a Boy Scout or the equivalent thereof in this world when you were a kid? Is that the deal here?
I just, after touching those gloves, I now feel imbued with such masculine
Confidence.
prowess.
Confidence.
And the knot just forms
Nuts.
itself
Only knowledge,
around
just
my hand.
confidence.
And as I
So-
tie this, I don't even look. I'm just like, I don't even know. And then boom, there's a perfect knot.
So Rinningham's internal monologue is about the manliness of I've got these gloves, I'm tying this knot, I'm binding this guy.
Masculine,
You guys watch as he
they're
still is
women.
tying his knots using the bunny ear method. It's still a tight knot.
6 loops. I have 6 loops in my hand. You don't know where they came from. You don't know where they're going, but all of a sudden it's just a knot.
It's one of those like what I think I do, what my friends think I do, like what I really do, and you guys all yeah, and he's like, I've got this massive knot system that's working, and it's like, why would you do that? You've tied it, untied it, retied it. You've made the perfect bunny ear knot. Like usually it's a weak knot that just kind of comes undone on its own. It's like that's not gonna go anywhere. That's actually like bound into the cloth, and the gnome is like, and his eyes are wide and angry as the cart continues to slow, and finally, after a bit, comes to a stop. And when it comes to a stop, all the lights kind of flicker as it jerks and.
So do we leave this guy on, or do we let him adventure through this
We
wasteland?
gotta figure out
Well-
where we go from here. Because if we show up with an empty train,
Well,
And
ours
we
is
weren't
stopped.
supposed to be
Weren't we in the
magical.
lead?
we were. They're all behind us.
So, what are the cars behind us doing?
Eventually, they're going to be heading this way.
But they're not on the tracks yet. It was gonna take a while for them to get back on the tracks.
Right, but there was like the second part that they were loading up with people.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
like wounded in there.
Yeah.
Oh, here's
So
an
what can we
idea.
do? What can we do with the stuff in the car now to mitigate the trouble we're going to have when we get back to the city? Or do we go back to the city, or do we just take off in a new direction and go across the desert endlessly without a goal?
Well, we have a goal. It's just in the other direction.
I don't think that qualifies as a goal anymore. I'm pretty sure that captain made it clear we won't be continuing that.
The gnome is just listening to you guys, just like try to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do. Just
Well, now why wouldn't we just? We have a cart now. Why don't we just go back the way we came?
Because we're gonna run into the other carts coming at us.
No, they're on the other track. Well, no.
But with
Oh.
these gloves, and I take the gloves out of my pocket, I can move those cars.
While they're moving at us?
That's slightly faster than walking. And they'll have to stop when they see us stop. So once they stop, I just flip them.
There's more guards in the other cars.
Imagine guards tumbling in a flipped car.
We did. We've witnessed it about 4 times. But they weren't guards.
Okay. What's more important, going back to town or continuing on our initial journey?
Well, if we go back to town, there's going to be a lot of questions about what happened. And
Which
I don't know
I just
how we're
assume
going to
not deal with personally.
Agreed.
Well, who knows? Who even knows we're here other than that one guard?
That's
There's
fair.
a couple of them that might.
That were here with us.
But they're all off now. They're all wandering the desert, waiting for another car to
This
pick them up.
gentleman right here.
Why don't we go
We can
back to
leave
this
the
other
gnome.
car, find somebody that's reasonably healthy, bring them up here and explain to them what this lever does, let them continue into town so that these other folks can get medical attention, and we just continue going our original direction, but not next to the tracks.
DM, I want to keep an eye on our gnome friend and make sure he's not getting away anywhere while we're discussing.
he is bound, and he is just staring up at you guys, and every so often he's making like guttural like noises.
What if we put the gnome out here and then all of us just show up in town without anyone else and just explain that we found a vacant car and we figured we wanted to head back because the journey was too long on foot? We assumed since the car was abandoned, we could just take it back ourselves and then blend in with the city crowd.
I don't think that one's going to go over too well since they did dispatch a vehicle, a car to do like an investigation. So they're expecting someone to come back. And if we show up with nothing, they're going to be wanting to know what happened to the people they sent out.
Can we make this car go faster in the opposite direction then? If we get it going fast enough, can we make it like a battering ram so the car is coming behind us?
Would I, after my investigation of the control panel and watching the other gnomes work it, would I know how to like supercharge this car and make it go ultra fast?
Oh, God.
Give me.
DM, can Runningham strap rockets to the back of this cart?
uh,
Can we create tiny explosions to propel the cart forward?
just give me a straight intelligence check.
Oh no, I'm dumb as hell.
DM, I guess the actual question here
Yeah,
is
that's
it possible to summon a 300
That's a
hand
seven.
push the cart very fast?
That's a 7. More than a 5.
Most of what you've determined is
That's
that
an 8.
pushing the lever one way will make the car go one way, pushing the lever the other way will make the lever go the other way, and you know that there are some knobs behind a panel. That's about the extent of what you know about how this whole thing works.
Interesting. So what I've surmised is we can move this cart one direction by moving this lever, and then if we want it to go the other direction, we move the lever in the other direction.
Okay. If we go the other direction using the cart, we're going to be taking all these injured folks with us because they're on that side of the train. Rather than we're going to be denying them access to healers back in town Are we okay with doing that?
I'm not.
You say denying.
Well, they have no choice.
So everybody believes
Everybody has a choice.
that we were possessed, except for this one gnome. So if we get rid of the gnome and then take everybody with us, they will tell them that we saved them, and
But,
we'll
they,
be
but they were in
fine.
the other car. They don't have any idea what happened.
Exactly, but the injured ones that were on this train, especially this guy over here in the corner, knows that I was possessed, and I look at him, right?
He's still looking
And
at the corner with his ear. He's just
I figured
none of this is happening.
and will vouch for us, and then we'll be fine.
Okay, we can dump the gnome, and I think we've got a good chance of pulling off
Dump
that
the
story.
gnome.
Well, we don't got to kill him. The next train.
No,
can
no,
pick
I
him
don't
up.
mean literally kill him. I mean literally just dump him outside so that he can walk back to wherever. I mean, there are other guards out here walking. They'll take care of him.
Cool.
I mean, they're all going to be headed back to town eventually. They'll pick him up. He'll be fine.
Excuse me, Mr. Gnome, I have a question for you. You can nod yes or no. Do you have water on you? All right. So
He
Theo's
just kind of
gonna
looks at you
go,
incredulously, like,
Theo's gonna go
does
to
it
his
look
bag.
like?
He's gonna go to his bag here. He's gonna get his canteen and he's just gonna hand it to the gnome. He's gonna help him up. He's gonna say, "All right, up, up." Mhm.
How much binding did you do, Bob?
Steel manacle, just like handcuffs.
Oh,
on
just
his wrist.
handcuffs? Okay. You didn't like do what they did to Clore where he's like immobile.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean he can
He's
still
gonna-
use his
no, he's gonna
legs. So I
hand him
mean
the
we can.
canteen. He's gonna gently walk him
Yeah.
over to the door, kind of like guide him over, and he's gonna say, "All right."
And hey, bud,
Go
I
find
want
these
you to.
guards. I'm sure that you'll be all right. Okay. Now you seem like a real smart individual. Still not. He's gonna just kind of push him out the door. It's a problem solved. Let's keep moving.
And Mr. Gnome, I want you to know if you weren't a dick, you could have ridden into town, but you're a jerk, so now you're walking. And by the way, we didn't have to bring you back to life. Remember that too.
For what it's worth, sir, I'm glad to grow up.
So, just for my understanding, which direction are you guys heading now? Are you heading towards the city or are you heading back towards the train wreck?
Towards the city, we've got a story to tell about possession and greed and lust. Well, okay, possession. We don't have a lot of greed and lust.
No.
Okay. Cool. So you push the lever in the direction and start going?
Mhm.
Enter Nathan Lever.
What?
I'm gonna let Scott out of the bag.
Wasn't he already out?
Well, he kinda. He probably like just kind of chilled on the floor while everything was going
He
crazy.
probably
What did I miss?
thought this and climbed back into the bag.
Theo, could I possibly borrow 5 copper coins?
Yeah.
I think I can.
Absolutely.
I think I can make this right.
You know what, Corn? Absolutely. I'm really sorry that I got you, hurt. So Theo, can I hand over the coins without question?
Rinningham, hang on one second. And Theo jumps out of the cart and goes over to the gnome.
Or Clore. You mean Clore. You're
Core
Clore.
does. Core does.
That's what I
Right.
mean.
Okay. Confused me there. I'm like, oh, am I leaving?
So Clore bends down to the gnome who's on the ground, right? And pulls his dagger out and cuts the gag out of his mouth.
Ah!
And then
What?
says, and he looks over his shoulder to see if anyone's watching him. Is anyone watching me?
Is anyone watching him? Are you guys watching him or are you just kind of...
Just kind of casually, not intently, more of
No.
just.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
Yeah, it was
watching
just
just because he
disgusting.
told me to wait.
So I kind of pull him off to the side. off to the side, so he's like out of view of
Yeah, you're
everybody.
between us and him. Gotcha.
Well, I want him like out of view of the cart. Like I don't want you to look, even if you were looking. I don't want you to be able to see. And I'm going to say, very quietly, that this is
Okay.
for hurting my friend. And I take my dagger and put it right underneath his chin. Right.
Actually kill him.
Oh yeah, he's dead. I want him.
Oh.
Oh yeah, he's dead.
Okay. He is
Oh,
bound.
rats.
So
I'm doing it in the throat. I don't want him to be able to scream because I had already cut the gag out of his.
yeah. So how many points of healing did you do, Bob?
It's a coup de grace,
7.
my guy. He's
You
Seven.
did 7?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a coup de grace. That's a move.
Well,
he's doing it until the
he's
guy's dead. I don't think we can like. roll
yeah,
him.
it's one of those. He's not. You have to be helpless to do a coup de grace. He's not considered helpless. He's considered restrained. So there's what I'll allow is
You're gonna have to
roll
stag twice.
Chlor, roll an attack action with advantage. With your dagger.
I can't believe you gave him 7 points of healing.
Really, at
Hey,
the
man,
end of the
it's
day, this
random
is your fault.
roll. I
It's
rolled good.
Hey, listen, I only have 4 hit points. You could have healed me. That's a 13.
You were
that's,
mostly dead.
that's a 13 on a bound guy.
Yep. So on the
On the
first, okay, roll damage. That's a hit.
And obviously, I'm just gonna drag it around until it kills him. So
Like you're getting when you have a jar of jelly and
Yes.
you just pull it out of the fridge and you're like, I'm gonna make a really good peanut butter and jelly.
this is a vengeful. This is a
Just kinda
vengeful killing.
stir it around.
Roll a second attack just so we can get a real
Yeah,
Oh,
21
God.
on that one.
okay.
and then
The damage.
That's gonna be
yeah.
a 5 piercing
Okay.
damage.
So as you take him off to quietly, like, what you guys, for if anyone is looking, because there are windows on these things, he kind of walks out with the gnome, just kind of, arm in arm, and then, he's the hand that had the coins in it as he walked away, and then they kind of go off into the dark, just beyond really the thing of the light, and then Flora, you just kind of like right in the throat, just kind of like muffle his face as he just goes down.
Yep.
And then what do you do with the coins?
I pocket them.
Okay.
I pocket them, and I go back and I give the gag to. I guess I would hand it to the first person, so probably Bob. I hand it to Bob, and I look at Theo and be like, I couldn't leave him totally helpless, and just hand the gag like as if I were to just ungag him and leave him with the coins, and hand it to Bob and just go and sit down in the cart and say, "We're good running in."
Oh, okay.
Cool. Cool. Just a moment, I gotta check.
Gonna
something
change the
really-
entire storyline now.
With the death- With the death of this character, the
The consequences have just
tapestry of the
multiplied.
prophecy has been
exponentially.
unraveled.
I couldn't have him
Butterfly
identifying
effect
us, guys.
has
He could
occurred.
identify.
Okay. So there's now just the 5 of you and the catatonic guard in the corner in a cart.
And to the city. At twice walking speed.
Basically, yep.
Oh, dear.
Just kind of clunk. And so the cart slowly begins to roll. And it picks up speed. The guard who's in the corner just kind of turns and looks at you all. And then just kind of takes his hands off of his ears and just kind of turns around and sits in the corner and looks out into the cabin at you all. And his eyes are still like really wide, and he still has the blood and tears, and you can see his snot is now dried and starting to turn all red and nasty, and As the skin's all irritated in his ears still, he's like, "Are you gonna kill me?"
No. But I'm going to go over and close the door because I don't want him to get up and jump out.
He just watches
This
as you get
guard
close and
probably
slide the
prefer
door
it.
shut.
Wait, Pen's gonna go over and just like sit down beside him, all comfortable, like.
And he kind of looks at you and like he bristles visibly and just kind of armor is impeding his ability to squish into the corner any further away from you. And just kind of looks at you. And just turns into like just so he's not looking at the rest of you again.
Pen Pen taps him on his shoulder. Do you like animals?
No response.
He taps it again. Hey. Hey buddy. Hey guy. Hey bro.
Turns slightly
Okay.
so that it's just barely, you can barely see his eye as his head is only turned just enough to see you.
Do you like animals? Fuzzy ones? Cute ones?
Looks ahead and just turns back again and just stops responding entirely.
What about dragons?
I could do a dragon.
Do you like dragons?
Wait a
How
second.
about dungeons? How do you feel about those?
How about? I'm not gonna do it.
How much damage? How much
I set
damage
you
does?
up for it. Come on, Ace, I set you up for it, man. I can't make it. But you can.
The fourth wall takes 138 damage.
Okay, we don't need to traumatize him too much. He still needs to be able to speak when we get to town.
What is your plan with all this?
My plan?
Yeah, Penn gets up and abandons the. He was going to try and be kind, but he doesn't have the patience to actually deal with the traumatized victim.
He didn't want to play with the chipmunk.
No, not at all. So Penn just shrugs it off. Whatever. He'll go back to the group at this point.
You can't
Solidarity
help-
in numbers
Yeah,
of
you
all
can't
of us
help
that
those
have now
don't wanna be
committed
here.
actual felonies.
Yeah, I figure once we get back to town, we'll let this guy tell the story and we will disappear. At least that's my hope.
Think anyone will believe him?
About the possession that happens.
Yeah.
Is anyone
Yeah,
gonna
spirit.
believe this guy? Or is he just crazy enough we can explain that there was some sort of unnatural phenomenon that caused everybody to lose their minds?
The
Well,
plan.
this guy is our corroborating witness because the rest of us, we could conspire. We need somebody outside the group to vouch for our veracity. I like those V words.
Vouch,
Well,
veracity,
something I didn't
voracious.
You, the members of the jury, are the sole judges of the credibility of the witnesses.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh.
Which, yeah.
Is the cart rolling back to town?
It is. It is now reached about top speed, where it's just kind of rolling along.
We still have over an hour until we get there, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You guys, I mean, you guys have been traveling for better part of the day, and everything that you just did in the car took place within the first like half an hour. So
I'd like to go
you guys still have a couple of hours of travel.
Yeah.
We may as well settle in and be as comfortable as possible on this terrible, terrible serrated floor.
Yeah, Penn might take a nap.
Yeah. So we I guess one thing I gotta say to all of you right now. I am awfully sorry about what happened. I had no clue that this is what was going to occur. So I apologize for getting you all into this.
That's okay. You're not versed in like the ways of the magical world. You're allowed to be scared.
I'm not talking about the the whole thing that happened while we were on here. I'm talking about getting you all in trouble with the law by just talking to a guard. I didn't have any idea that would happen.
Bah.
We didn't have anything to do with what happened to the train, so that's all I said.
Oh, we're only in trouble with the law in this town. There's plenty of other towns. Well, no big deal.
Or just finds a corner that the sad guard is not in, and just
Sad guard.
ignores Theo and turns toward the corner and puts his head against the wall, and just tries to go to sleep with whatever time he knows that he has until he gets to the city.
Okay.
All right.
Do you guys do anything else for the time that the train is rolling?
I would say take a long rest, but we don't have time.
You definitely have time for a short rest, but yeah, unfortunately, there's no time for a long rest.
Yeah, definitely doing a short rest.
Partway through, everybody's sleeping. Theo's still a bit keyed up. Rest. Also, he has no spell slots to cover. He'll deal with the health later. So about 40 minutes have passed or whatnot. He's gonna go and he's gonna try to kind of speak to the catatonic guard. Very slowly. Very slowly. He's gonna sit down, not next to him, like on the other side of the length, right?
Okay.
In a non-threatening way.
Yeah, basically the other side of the... He's in one corner by the door, you're at the other corner by the door, like, 20 feet away, just kind of talking across the room like, hey.
Exactly.
Whereas Clore is, like, on the opposite side of the train car entirely from the two of you.
All taking over little corners, don't come in my corner, you stay in your area. The circle of death, avoid it.
Everyone's avoiding the pee puddle, yeah.
Exactly. We give it a wide berth, wait for it to dry up, and hold your breath and walk past it. It's my food. Yeah. No. So Theo's just gonna sit down. And he's gonna, start talking. Kind of just be rambling, and I'm not gonna take up much of time here, but basically he's gonna go from that sure was something scary, weren't it? Into basically just rambling about his life without mentioning his name. But he's gonna explain to him, I don't know if you got a family back in town, you got anyone that's waiting for me, but I'll let you know right now. You don't know me from Adam. I'm a total stranger to you. But I'm sure you do got someone who's waiting for you to come home. Maybe your mom, your dad, siblings. I got 2 siblings waiting for me at home. They want me to. And it's certainly going to be something to tell them, but I gotta let you know right now too that it doesn't really sit right with me that you're in such a bad state. So after some, more rambling, just kind of going on and on and on about nonsense things, talking about the time that his little brother, tried to invent an automatic egg cracking machine that didn't go well, or the time when his little sister started working on needlework, and how she got hold of his shirts and, added flowers to all of them. Doesn't fit them anymore, that type of thing. Just kind of trying to humanize himself to the guard.
Okay.
Then he's going to be like, is there anything that we can do for you? Anything that I can do for you?
So this entire time, the guard hasn't even turned to acknowledge you. Give me a perception check.
Oh, God. I was dead from shock. That would suck. Perception. Ta-da. Why is it that I roll shit for, the things that I want to do and the things that I want to fail, I roll well on? That's a nat 1.
All right, so from... Wow, a nat 1. Nice. So from across the cart, he just looks like he's just still just sitting there, just kind of head in the corner, just not looking at anyone in the room, just kind of...
Don't tell me his heart gave out. Did he eat his tongue? Is that what happened here, DM?
I mean, do you go and further check on him? Do you go in... Do you, actually go and check on him, or do you just kind of leave him be?
He was a bit worried here. I mean, he wants to make sure the guy's okay. He's been through an awful shock. Theo is not a medic, doesn't know anything medical, but he at least, knows that generally speaking, you can kind of shake people's shoulders and try to call out to them to get their attention. He figures, the worst, he's going to wake up a guy who's having a deep nap, right? That's the worst that could happen.
As you go over it, do you touch him? Do you go and do that?
Oh yeah, no. Theo's
Okay.
gonna like
He
he's
startles.
gonna
And
Oh.
goes back into and he's not, he's like swatting away at you, just like
All right. Okay, don't worry, pal. I'm backing up. Okay?
I was,
No one's here to hurt you. All right. What's your name?
catatonic again, unresponsive, like just.
Okay, I'm gonna go leave you alone. All right. All right. I'm
And
gonna leave
he's
you
just
alone. I'm standing up. No
whimpering
one here's gonna
quietly
hurt you.
in the corner.
You can back off. You can say, Bob, I don't know if you know nothing about mines, but I don't think that guy's right in the head right now. And then he's gonna just sit down and mind his business.
No, unless he's a horse, I can't help you.
You're a vet.
Well, no, I just like animals.
I like animals too. What's your favorite type of animal?
I think squirrels.
Squirrels
Boy,
are
do
pretty
I have a
cool.
surprise for you.
Now, I don't know, Bob. Am I gonna offend you if I talk about hunting and eating things? Will that be offensive to you?
About what now?
Hunting.
No, I don't care. Squirrels are
Yeah.
tasty.
They are.
Never mind, I
exactly.
don't have something for you.
DM, are we getting our short rest in?
Yes, you guys are able to relax and get your short rest in.
You roast squirrel with some fresh herbs and a bit of a potato as well. Just a little bit of fat.
You know,
there.
if you take like flour and water and egg and roll it out real thin and
Right.
cook it in there with it, very tasty.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, delicious eating right there. I
Yep.
think my favorite animal are sheep, especially
So-
like the ones with the cute little black nose.
As you guys are talking about, animals and
Mhm.
just for the sake of making sure that everyone kind of Renningham, are you doing anything in particular while we rest?
I'm so I'm taking the gloves out and I'm like putting them on and I'm just kind of flexing my hands and I do I still have that wrench that that gnome gave me whenever we were trying to fix the cars?
As you kind of shuffle through some of the goods that are, like were taken from you, you do find your wrench. Yeah.
So I want to take one of the panels off the wall and with the gloves I want to see if like bending the metal is easier or like if I have the power.
As you
Yeah,
take
I
the
thought he was
metal,
gonna bend the wrench.
take the panel, you give me a strength check.
That's a 12.
As you bend the panel, it doesn't really nothing happens.
But the gloves. Okay.
Give me it's like a short-term memory check, so I guess it'd be like a history check.
Okay.
Short term memory.
An 11. History check.
You think back and the gloves that were on the gnomes who were doing stuff, as they were working on things, they had a glow to them where there was like some sort of like thing etched into the gloves that glowed faintly as they were bending all of the metal back into place. And as you are moving this piece of metal, your gloves are not doing that.
There's no chance I remember what was written.
Oh, absolutely. It was just more like it was more like arcane incantation like type. However, they were glowing while active, and yours are not glowing. So.
And I don't notice any etchings on the gloves themselves.
Give me an investigation check.
Nat 20.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
As you're looking at the gloves,
What a waste.
I know.
on the inside of the glove, near the wrist area, you do see a stamp kind of burned into the leather on the inside. And it is a symbol that you do recognize.
Ooh.
as one of
What the symbol?
It is something you recognize as one of the arcane enchantment manufacturing like groups from within the city. It's similar to how you conjured up the badge of the Masons Guild back in, like, this is another symbol that you do recognize. And you remember something special about magical items and that you have to attune to them. So I will send you details about these gloves.
Yes.
At some point, it won't be immediately, but as you take the time to
Yeah, I spend my
focus
time
on these. Okay. Floor. As you said, you
Yes.
try to take a short rest and take a nap in particular.
Yes.
As you close your eyes and begin to drift off,
Oh.
the sensation on your skin shifts very rapidly as you pass into a dark, cold place. And you don't really feel that you're walking, but you know that you're moving. And after a moment, the cold, dark place begins to have a faint flicker out in the distance, like a torchlight. And you can kind of make out the rough silhouette of cavernous structure. And as you are slowly brought towards the end of this cavernous structure and where the light is flickering from, you see a faint metallic piece, not terribly dissimilar to the one that hangs from your bracelet. Just kind of hanging there and shimmering with the light. And you hear, echoing through the chamber that you're in, well, well, well. We can finally have a bit of a conversation soon. And then you wake up, and it's been your short rest.
Oh no.
And I think we have kind of reached a good stopping point for this evening.
Yeah.
Oh
Love
no.
it. That's great.
That is not great.
Also,
That is not great.
with everything that has occurred up into this point, I
Oh.
believe you are all leveling up to level 2 finally. So, since we're here right now, we can do rolling for
Yay!
whatchamacallit. We'll do rolling for hit points real quick.
I don't know how to do that.
So,
roll,
on
baby, roll.
your character
And
sheets.
pray.
I just gotta what do I gotta figure out what to roll with my
So, on your character sheets, when you... Let me pull up one of my other random characters. I can ditch that encounter, because... Yes.
Oops.
Hey. Gosh, do I even have a character I can mess with? Okay. You click on the little anvil, it'll bring you to where your character creation basically back is, and you go to the class section. And you add a level to your class that you either, if you're multi-classing and you have the means to add your class, you would just click add another class and it would do that, and you put your rank in it. And then at the top there, it'll tell you what your hit dice are, and that's based off of the total of what your class grants you. Click on manage HP, and you will be able to, we're gonna roll. There's a section that tells you like how many hit dice you get from each class and all that jazz. Do you guys see what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever class you just ranked up, it will be one of those die. And we're gonna roll those, kind of sort it together.
How do you roll them from this window?
Well, you may have to click cancel, and there's a little die roller in the bottom left.
Okay.
Do you guys? So that'll probably be the easiest way of doing it, because there's no nice leveling up for hit points and stuff in this. But yeah, so I guess we'll go one at a time. Jim is used to this, because I've done this with our Pathfinder campaign. You guys have not yet experienced this. We're gonna kind of do a competing roll for your hit points. I'm gonna roll a die, and you're gonna roll a die. And the only thing I'm going to tell you is if I rolled min or max for that hit dice. So if I roll, like, if your hit die is an 8 and I roll a 1, I'm going to tell you I rolled a 1. If I rolled an 8, I'm going to tell you I rolled an 8. Everything else, you have to choose whether you want to keep your die or take my die, and I will tell you what the number is.
There's an element of like gambling to this. I like it. Okay.
Yeah, because it also gives you a chance to take a low roll and make it better. It's like advantage with a risk.
Or you can take a high roll and make it worse.
Yes,
Whichever
which
you want to do.
you know, you roll a 6 and I happen to not tell you that I have a 3 and you're like, there's a chance I can get a 7. You know, because I didn't tell you 8. So we're gonna go one at a time. We'll start with Jim. What is your hit die?
Everybody can see it in action.
Yeah, what is your hit die, Jim?
8.
Is a D8. All right, I'm going to roll a D8. I rolled min. So I did. I rolled a 1.
All right, I'm going to try and roll here. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want. Not. Oh, damn it! I don't know what I'm doing right now. Hang on.
Yeah, so go through that again. So you click the anvil, and then you just
go to the
select
classes. Yep.
You
and
can
then you
also
select
go
the...
up by your profile name. I did it up by the profile name. You can click your profile name, and then there's a manage levels hyperlink in there that takes you right to it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that works too.
Okay, since you rolled minimum, I will take mine, which is a 4.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So next we will do Theo.
Okay.
Theo, what is your hit die?
Then it is a D10.
It is a D10. All right, I'm going to roll a D10.
Marshall,
All right.
man.
All right, I did not roll min or max.
Great. Okay. So just to double check here, because I listened, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it right. I clicked the manage HP, right?
Before you click manage HP, we're gonna just roll the die, which happens to be in the bottom left.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. That's how we're doing it. All right.
Yep. Because you'll just have to get the number from there. So yeah, roll a D10.
Yeah, there we go. There's the dice. Okay. All right. That's a 6 plus my con would be higher. So
No, it's D. Don't count your con. It's just the roll. Your con gets added automatically.
Right, I know, but I'm looking at considering my options here. So I'll take mine.
You'll take yours. Okay. You'll keep a 6. Mine was a 7. So off by 1. All right. So
that's all right. Doesn't matter.
Next up is Rinningham. What is your hit die, Rinningham?
Tis an 8.
Tis an 8. All right. Well, I'm going to roll a D8. And mine is also neither min nor max.
Come on. Come on, baby. It's better than halfway, but I got a 5.
Oh wow, that's tough.
I know. Doug, look at me.
Doug, look at me.
Did you?
Yes.
What
yes. What do you want to know? What do you want to know, Stuart?
No. Oh man. I am going. You didn't roll min or max. There's only 2 possible chances. I'm doing that counting cards meme from Hangover.
It's
With all the numbers are going around.
It's 2 and 2.
I know. So it's a 50-50 that you did worse, but then like there's the gradients of the worst. I'm gonna stick with the 5. I'm scared.
Okay, you've committed to a 5, and it was a 7.
Damn it all! Come on.
All right. Pen, what is your hit die?
I felt it in my loins.
D6.
All right.
Stu, I would have kept it too.
I know.
Pen,
Don't
I
have to manage HP, it's
unfortunately
level 5.
rolled min for your. I rolled min, so.
Oh, then I'll keep mine.
All right. What did you roll?
A 4.
Okay. Yeah, I rolled a 1. All right, and last but not least, Chlor.
8. D8.
D8. All right.
I'm keeping mine.
Okay.
I rolled a 6. I rolled a 6. Unless you got an 8. Did you get max?
I did not get max. I also rolled a 6, so you didn't lose out.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so
All right.
you select.
So now that you have that number, you basically you just add it to whatever the rolled dice number is
Oh, something went horrible.
in your manage HP tab.
There's an HP modifier and an override HP.
Nah, so it's
Wait,
just
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
you
the
did
rolled.
HP.
There's
So
rolled
just
HP.
add
It should be
your
the
number to
leftmost
it.
column. Yeah, and just add your number to it.
Oh,
Just
mine
add yours
says
to it.
Add it to it.
Yeah, so like if I had
12,
6,
and I
I
had
got
the 6.
4. I have a 10 now.
Let me.
DM, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mine says it's fixed.
Yours is
Oh.
fixed HP. Okay, well let me.
Is that me?
So,
I did
go
something
to-
wrong.
That's okay.
Go to the home. and
I
scroll
will.
down
Let me.
to the hit point type,
Yeah, that's what I was basically gonna.
and there's
Oh, got it.
fixed and manual. I guess
Yeah.
pick manual.
We make sure it's
Oh,
manual.
I get it. Okay. All right.
Okay, now we're good. I can
Yeah.
fix this.
So now you can add your numbers to.
So, if it was fixed when we made our characters, did we just start with the
So
max?
you all yes. So you always on
Okay.
level 1 you start with your max rolled plus your constitution.
Mhm.
So that's where Chlor
just
originally had
add 5 to the rolled HP
Yeah.
and hit apply.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Get you- and then you
Chlor.
hit apply.
I got it. I figured it out. Hang on.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
Apply max.
Yeah. So Pen now has 14 hit points. Yeah, that checks out.
Oh wow.
So I
I
should.
never really played a ranger before, so I was off by a little bit. Guess who just got spells?
Hey, you got spells at level 2? Nice. So
did.
Theo went from like 14
I
hit
know
points
2.
up
I know 2 whole
to
spells.
22 hit points. All right. Yeah. So, congratulations you all on leveling up. I've been wanting you guys to level up, and this is a good waypoint in the story for a level up. Stuart, you look pretty excited about something, or are you just yawning?
Yeah, I get a little bit. I was excited, but then like opening my mouth and me yawn. A Song of Rest. I can just sing, and during a short rest, everyone that can hear me gets an extra D6 of hit points.
That's huge.
Nice.
I still
I
have a
get
problem
Grim
with my
Harvest.
hit points.
Oh no, what is Grim Harvest? Tell us, tell the friends.
Gain
If
the
you
ability to reap life energy from creatures like hell with spells.
Mm.
I
nice,
get Eldritch invocations. Oh, it's
You-
over with.
Oh,
you do
dude,
get your
you're-
next
yeah.
Eldritch invocation.
I get 2 of them.
That's the only thing I got though. Was my tradition.
So anyway, if I'll double check and make sure all the character sheets have been leveled up and stuff correctly. And if I have any questions, or if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. However, for the rest of people who are watching, that is leveling up. That is episode 7 of Naturally One done. We will see you guys on an upcoming Tuesday, maybe next Tuesday, maybe a Tuesday after. Who knows? But thank you guys for joining, and yeah, have yourself a good time. The episode for this should be up hopefully the end of the week. Check out the Discord if you want to keep an eye on the schedule. Check out the YouTube channel if you would like to watch previous episodes. And that's about all I got.
Coming soon, podcast.
Yeah, eventually, when
Soon is
certain
relative. Soon is relative.
somebody gets their crap together and
Available in all the places where you normally get your podcasts.
It'll come
So
out
that you can
after I've.
enjoy at work.
So I've been playing video games lately, and it'll come out. I just gotta finish Half-Life 3, and then.
wow.
And then I'll get to it.
Wow.
That
Okay.
hurt.
Gotta
go
Yeah. So it's after I finish watching Firefly season 2 is basically what you're saying.
Oh, don't
Mhm.
hurt me like that.
Oh, even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've hurt
On-
you like that, and that's not funny.
On that heartbreaking note, good night, guys.